comes the fascists. So they all came out of the woodwork on the day the Nazi died. They say the prisoner of Spandau was a symbol of defeat. Whilst Hess remained in prison, then the fascists they would beat. So the promise of an Aryan world would never materialize. So why did they all come out of the woodwork on the day the Nazi died? The world is riddled with maggots. The maggots are getting fat. They're making a tasty meal of all the bosses and bureaucrats. They're taking over the boardrooms and they're fat and full of pride. And they all came out of the woodwork on the day the Nazi died. So if you meet with these historians, I'll tell you what to say. Tell them that the Nazis never really went away. They're out there burning houses down and peddling racist lies. And we'll never rest again until every Nazi dies.
Woke up one morning and there were soldiers. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Woke up one morning and there were soldiers. The invasion had begun. Lend me your shoulder, we'll stand together. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Lend me your shoulder, we'll stand together. But I feel my time has come, and if I die here for the resistance, oh bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. And if I die here for the resistance, you must lay me in my grave among the flowers upon the mountain. Oh bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Among the flowers upon the mountain, let me rest among the brave. Someday the people will pick the flowers. Oh bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Someday the people will pick the flowers, and they will remember my name. This is the flower of the resistance. Oh bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. This is the flower of the resistance, and those who died for liberty. This is the flower of the resistance. Oh bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. This is the flower of the resistance, and those who died for liberty. This is the flower of our resistance, and those who died for liberty.
Come all of you good workers, good news to you I'll tell of how the good old Union has come in here to dwell.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
My daddy was a miner and I'm a miner's son, and I'll stick with the Union till every battle's won.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
They say in Harlan County there are no neutrals there. You'll either be a Union man or a thug for J.H. Blair.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
Oh, workers, can you stand it? Oh, tell me how you can. Will you be a lousy scab or will you be a man?
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
Don't Don't scab for the bosses, don't listen to their lies. Us poor folks haven't got a chance unless we organize.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on? Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
I was born in a Dublin street where the loyal drums do beat, and the lovely English people walked all over us. And every single night when the tab would come home tight, he'd invite the neighbours out with his chorus. Come out, you black and tans, come out and fight me like a man. Show your wife how you won medals down in Flanders. Tell her how the IRA made you run like Galloway from the green and lovely lace of Gilshandra. Come tell us how you slew them old Arabs 2 by 2. Like the Zulus, they had knives, bows and arrows. Of how brave you faced one with your 16-pounder gun, and you frightened all the natives to the marrow. Come out, you black and tans, come out and fight me like a man. Show your wife how you won medals down in Flanders. Tell her how the IRA made you run like Galloway from the green and lovely lakes of Gilshandra. Come let us hear you tell how you stand the brave Parnell, and taught them well and truly persecuted. Where are the stares and jeers that you proudly let us hear when our heroes of 16 were executed? Come out, you black and tans, come out and fight me like a man. Show your wife how you won medals down in Flanders. Tell her how the IRA made you run like Galloway from the green and lovely lakes of Gilshandra.
Ding dong, the witch is dead. Witch all with the wicked witch. Ding dong, the wicked witch is dead. Ding dong, the witch is dead. Witch all with the wicked witch. Ding dong, the wicked witch is dead.
Oh, come out, you pretty sons, come out and fight without your guns. Show your wife how you won medals up in Derry. You murdered 16 men and you'll do the same again. So get out of here and take your bloody army. Come out, you black and tans, come out and fight me like a man. Show your wife how you won medals down in Flanders. Tell her how the IRA made you run like Galloway from the green and lovely lakes of Gilshandra. Oh, come out, you black and tans, come out and fight me like a man. Show your wife how you won medals down in Flanders. Tell her how the IRA made you run like Galloway from the green and lovely lakes of Gilshandra.
Buckingham Palace announced the death of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II.
Do that again. I didn't understand it that time. Take it easy. Yes, Mr. Hitler. Hitler started out in 1932. Hitler started out in 1932. When he started out, he took the home from the We're gonna tear Hitler down. We're gonna tear Hitler down. We're gonna tear Hitler down someday. We're gonna bring him to the ground. We're gonna bring him to the ground. We're gonna bring him to the ground someday. When Hitler started out, he took the Jews from their home. Hitler started out, took the Jews from their home. That's one thing, Miss Hitler, you know you done wrong. We're gonna tear Hitler down. We're gonna tear Hitler down. We're gonna tear Hitler down someday. We're gonna bring him to the ground. We're gonna bring him to the ground. We're gonna bring him to the ground someday. You ain't no iron, you ain't no solid rock. You ain't no iron, you ain't no solid rock, no you ain't. What we making people say, Miss Hitler, you is got to stop. We're gonna tear Hitler down. We're gonna tear Hitler down. We're gonna tear Hitler down someday. We're gonna bring him to the ground. We're gonna bring him to the ground. We're gonna bring him to the ground someday. Miss Hitler, we're gonna tear your playhouse down. Miss Hitler, we're gonna tear your playhouse down. You've been blind mighty high, but you on your last go round. We're gonna tear Hitler down. We're gonna tear Hitler down. We're gonna tear Hitler down someday. We're gonna bring him to the ground. We're gonna bring him to the ground. We're gonna bring him to the ground someday. Miss Hitler, you know you ain't so keen. Miss Hitler, you ain't so keen. But we making people say you're the biggest liar they ever seen. We're gonna tear Hitler down. We're gonna tear Hitler down. We're gonna tear Hitler down someday. We're gonna bring him to the ground. We're gonna bring him to the ground. We're gonna bring him to the ground someday.
There's a great and a bloody fight round this whole world tonight. In the battle of bombs and shrapnel rain, Hitler told the world around he would tear our Union down. But our Union's gonna break them slavery chains. And our Union's gonna break them slavery chains. I walked up on a mountain in the middle of the sky. Could see every farm and every town. I could see all the people in this whole wide world. That's the Union that'll tear the fascists down, down, down. That's the Union that'll tear the fascists down. When I think of the men and the ships going down while the Russians fight on across the Don, there's London in ruins and Paris in chains. Good people, what are we waiting on? Good people, what are we waiting on? So I thank the Soviets and the mighty Chinese vets, the Allies, the whole wide world around. To the battling British, thanks, you can have 10 million Yanks if it takes them to tear the fascists down, down, down. If it takes them to tear the fascists down. But when I think of the ships and the men going down and the Russians fight on across the Don, there's London in ruins and Paris in chains. Good people, what are we waiting on? Good people, what are we waiting on? So I thank the Soviets and the mighty Chinese vets, the Allies, the whole wide world around. To the battling British, thanks, you can have 10 million Yanks if it takes them to tear the fascists down, down, down. If it takes them to tear the fascists down.
Hey! Happy New Year. Fuck America. There you go. Just saying. Is it? What, New Year? Yes, it is, yes. Anyway, you can give me money in the form of bits and subs and YouTube memberships and subscriptions. All of that shit, right? And I'm running late, as you can tell. And we're on with no justice to do. A 1 day belated New Year. Oh shit. New Year award-winning gerbalism. Yeah. It's the wiping that takes so long. If only it was so simple. If only I were just going for a poo, rather than the complicated series of events that I don't really want to go into. Well, it's not that I don't want to go into. It would be boring to do so. Not that I suppose that has stopped me in the past. What's this? Yes, stay in the goal. Anyway, having rushed, because I was late, No Justice doesn't seem to want to join me at the moment, but there we go. Hang on, how do I get... Hang on. There we go. Thank you to... where were we? Scribby! Thank you, Scribs. The Scribbity-bibbity bobs. Hang on. How do I get rid of it? Go away, layout 1 updated. Prick. Right. Thank you. Thank you, Scribby. This stream ought to be a belter. We'll see. Thank you to Eric the Red, who may be a Man United fan or just Norwegian. Who knows? Could be both, I guess. What time in the day is this for a Kev stream? Wait, far too early. Clearly. And thank you, Mr. Peter Wood. Mr. Peter Wood. For resubscribing as well. And thank you, Dingus Van Sant, who says, I apologise to all for my Discord faux pas. Well, firstly, tish tish on the use of French. Okay? Disgusting. And secondly, what happened? Like, I barely take notice of what happens anywhere, let alone the Discord. The Discord is full of people who like watching my content, and those people are mental. So I don't know what happened. Faux pas doesn't seem like a particularly high, like, you know, crime bar, though, so, like, I don't know. Can someone annoy No Justice to tell her, like, the things in the Discord, in the Twitter DMs, please? Because she doesn't appear to want to join. America going through its Lebensraum phase. To be fair, going through its second Lebensraumsphase. Because, to be fair, the actual Lebensraum concept from Nazi Germany was inspired by Manifest Destiny. I'm not making that up. That's not me being a spurious comparison. That is literally true. That many Nazis, including Hitler, wrote about this and spoke about this. Except, of course, instead of going west, they had to go east. But the basic principle was the same thing. £50 points for speaking German. Brackets, well. Oh, sorry, minus 50 points. Well, that's fair enough, yeah. Although, of course, was Hitler German? Vogel? Were they? Were they definitely from Germany? Vogel? Depends on what you think. It depends on your attitude towards it, I guess. Austria, Germany, same place, right? Well, certainly the Nazis felt so. But no. In fact, no. Thank you to Esther Pester for becoming a member on the YouTubes. Thank you to Michael, who says, just to make you smile. Well, you know what? You did make me smile. In here. And thank you, Carl Brown, for gifting a membership. Much love to you all. We've been over... Yeah, Hitler was German, Beethoven was Austrian. We've been over this. Yes, we have been over this, haven't we? This is an Engelbert Doffus household. You take that back. I'll not be taking anything back. I'll be leaving it out there for all to see. Have people annoyed? I'm asking for a positive brigading of somebody else's chat here. Okay? But go into No Justice's chat and say, check your fucking Twitter DMs, otherwise Kev's going to get stabby. Actually, don't say that last bit, because that could get you banned or something, but, you know. She is busy. Doing what? Streaming. She's doing a segment on Clegg. Or a Cleggment, I suppose you could say. You shouldn't say that, though. That would be very... honestly, Nick Clegg murdered hundreds of thousands of people through austerity. Fun times. I got apple juice, bitches. Cold as fuck apple juice. Oh, Spice World. Happy New Year, Helena. How are you?
I'm enjoying the quiet. It's nice, isn't it?
There's so much quiet. You know what? You get sick of all the quiet, don't you?
It's very quiet. Oh, so much quiet. We enjoying the quiet chat.
Unbelievable stuff. Well, you know what? I'm glad at a time of such international strife that we have a human rights lawyer who knows what international law is.
It's just
super duper.
I've never been a politician I fucking hated more than Keir Starmer. It takes a lot for me to hate someone more than George Osborne.
I was about to say I thought you were a George Osborne hate stan account. What's going on there? Is he taking over? Has he surpassed even Gideon himself?
Oh, I mean, probably not, but it's getting real close.
Well, exactly. I mean, in theory, there are 3.5 years left. In theory.
Oh dear.
Anyway,
I mean, we also have to expect that there is, in theory, 3 years of Trump left.
Again, in theory, but now it's legal. Why doesn't a foreign country just kidnap him?
So true.
It's fine. I reckon. You know what? Fuck it. As a direct threat has been made against them, the military that definitely exists of Greenland should invade America, kidnap Trump, and who can say otherwise?
I mean, it's true, and you know what? Unfortunately, I have no comment on Meta Frederickson's desire to conquer America. But as long as it's in line with international law, like international law must be followed if Denmark conquers America.
Yeah, exactly. Which I mean, it basically can. I think. I think Greenland has that right. She has that right. Okay.
I mean, to be fair, I think you could probably defeat Trump by slapping him with a rolled up newspaper.
Maybe that's what we need. Just treat him like a dog. Just boop him on the nose. No! Bad Trump! Get in your bed! I said get in your fucking bed! And then he'll go and lie down in the corner, whimpering. And probably piss himself. But, you know, he is wearing diapers, so it's fine.
So true.
Anyway, what did you go up to at New Year's or whatever? Did you do anything fun?
We had people around and we played games, and it was nice. It was cool, and we had Chinese food.
Fair enough. I didn't even press the nerd sound alert, so I don't know what anyone's talking about.
Nerd.
That didn't happen. I've also got I've got this one. Hang on. I'll just explain it to you. It's Curtis going, ooh, podcast.
Ooh, podcast.
So that's a thing.
Incredible.
Yeah.
I need to get one. It's clearly I need to get one for myself because that sounds funny.
Indeed, yes. Well, it's in my Discord if you want to download that specific one. But
nice.
Yeah. Yes. So, shall we get on with our first 24-hour, well, about 10-hour delayed, first of the year award-winning journalism?
Oh my God, she's gonna win so many awards with this one. I can just tell. Given that the BBC have been literally told by their higher-ups they're not allowed to describe the obvious kidnapping as what it is.
So the genocide that isn't a genocide, and the kidnapping that isn't a kidnapping, and the war that isn't a war. What was that line? Look, it's hackneyed for people on the internet to go straight away to George Unwin's 1985. But there is a line in the actual book which says, was it the final command of the party was to disbelieve your own eyes?
And it is indeed, yeah.
Yeah, which is basically true. Ignorance is bliss after all. Yeah. Anyway, so
I enjoyed that. Like, I on Twitter described Keir Starmer as Trump's cum rag, and at no point I had one person go, "Oh, I can't believe journalists are insulting Keir Starmer." First of all, talking of insults, I'm not a journalist. Fuck off. Second of all,
hang on. Did you not kind of interview future Prime Minister Zach Polanski?
Well, he interviewed me. I'm a media star.
Well, that's sort of that. Well, I mean, being interviewed and interviewing are two sides of the same coin.
That's fair. That's fair. But also, second of all, did I say anything incorrect? Did I say anything incorrect at all as describing Keir Starmer as Trump's cum rag? Is that wrong? Am I wrong?
Well, I don't think Trump, at his age and his physical state, is capable of ejaculation. But other than that, I think genuinely that is certainly he's America's cum rag.
Yeah, that's very
but
good.
It's good to know.
Are we not all America's collective cum rag?
Kind of. We are a little bit. We're very much. I like to think of Britain as the My Little Pony in the jar of Trump's clopping activities. I think that's basically where we're at as a nation. You know, just sitting in a pile of congealed American spunk.
Oh
Fuck
no. Actually, Solly pointed out I once interviewed Hitler, so there you go.
You did interview Hitler, yeah, indeed so. And of course, our close friend Curtis has interviewed Hitler on at least a couple of occasions.
I interviewed the tiny queen as well, the better queen.
The only queen I will ever bow to. And look, Liz Truss, monarch slayer. You come for the tiny queen, we got problems. Okay.
So true.
Just saying.
Have we ever had a prime minister this cucked? I think this is even more cucked than Blair at this point. Is it more cucked than Eden?
Oh God! Much more so. Yeah. Considering, right, Wilson, years after Eden, literally refused to take Britain into the war in Vietnam.
Yeah.
So I think everyone pre Wilson has to be discounted from this category, right? America, sure. Certainly there was more of an equality between Thatcher and Reagan than we currently have, so I don't think you can count Thatcher. Major, again, probably not really, although he was cooked to basically everyone because he was useless. And then that leaves you basically with Blair or Cameron. Really?
Well, the irony is that David Cameron really wanted to be cucked to America, and Ed Miliband wouldn't let him. Imagine, right? Imagine,
Yeah.
I mean, like, the downfall of Ed Miliband. I guess, to be fair, all he's doing is just sitting there, pumping out energy policy documents as the world collapses around him.
Yeah, there's not a lot. Well, to be fair, there's not a lot you can do as energy secretary other than resign because you're in a government doing a genocide. So there's that. But other than that, yeah, he doesn't really have much sway in the matter.
No.
But
It is very fun. He's literally in his little bubble doing his funny little TikToks and doing his energy policy documents, whilst literally everything else in every other department just fucking collapses.
well, it might fall to him to have to become prime minister because all the other departments might just cease to exist or something.
Oh, well, to be fair,
I don't know.
about Trump's Venezuela strikes, he said, and I quote, "I think these strikes are wrong whilst negotiations are still going on."
Are they going on? I didn't
Sorry,
realize.
that's a joke. That's a reference. That's a joke reference.
Oh, sorry. I was about to say I didn't realize there were negotiations going
Yeah,
on.
there's a bit from 2013, I think it was. I think there was public sector strikes, and just he was asked this question like 1,000 times, and he said the same line was these strikes are wrong whilst negotiations are still going on. He said a million times. It was very funny.
These strikes, right? I'm with you. The double meaning of the word strike. You've confused me with your subtle satire, Mrs. Yes, but it's again. It's good to know that the Prime Minister. Look, if you spray paint a plane, you go to jail. If you invade another country, steal its leader, or commit a genocide, or are literally Al Qaeda in Syria, you can be friends with with the British government. So that's
it's an incredible tweet here from Council State Media. If Trump boiled a baby live on national telly, Starmer would say he is waiting for the facts before making a statement. And when that statement came, he would condemn the baby's parents and say boiling babies must always be done in compliance with international law.
Well, he's put himself into something of a bind, actually, because I don't know if... I mean, they might bring this up in the interview, if we ever fucking get to it. But with Greenland, right, which I sort of jokingly referred to earlier, he's come out and said that he doesn't support, declaratively, that America's annexation of Greenland would be wrong. But Trump is going to want to do that. So when that does happen, does he just carry on doing the same thing where we're monitoring the situation? Okay, but when you monitor the situation and find out it breaks international law, will you do anything? We're monitoring the situation. There's so much monitoring of situations right now, chat. Unbelievable.
Yeah, literally. God, it's just so pathetic, isn't it?
It really,
and
is.
Thing is, they put out a statement saying that invasion of Greenland would be wrong after sending fucking Mike Tapp onto the morning rounds to explicitly not make a comment on whether or not he thought it was illegal. Just...
True, but Mike Tapp didn't have an opinion because he was too busy eating English breakfast. Yeah.
So true.
This is a government of just the biggest fucking losers. It's embarrassing.
True. They are losers, aren't they? You know,
Yeah.
like, all of the times that we would need a strong leader, a principled leader, a visionary leader, and a party and a government full of people with huge amounts of world-weary experience, and we've got fucking children. We have,
I genuinely did not think, and this is going to be a statement now, I didn't think that he would be worse than Sunak. I thought there's no way he could be. And he is. I would argue significantly so. I think Sunak was knowingly corrupt, but he knew what he was about.
I mean,
I'll give it that much.
I don't think it's worth splitting hairs. Can you really fit a Rizzler between these people at this point?
I'd like to fit jail cells between them.
So true. I mean,
that'd be nice.
I mean, when was the last time we had a statesperson in charge of this country? Is it? It might be. It might have to be. Is it just Callahan?
Yeah, I guess so. Though Callahan wasn't great. I mean, we might genuinely have to go back to Wilson again. I think.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, Callahan. He wasn't around for that long, and it was a very bad time. But it might be Wilson. Yeah. Which that's honestly, like, getting to the point where it's, for most people, it's not living memory.
And Wilson was a cuck for Israel anyway.
Well, that is also true, but at least he did stand up to America, like I say, with the Vietnam thing.
With Vietnam, yeah, that's also very true. That's very
Unlike
true.
Australia, Australians like to go under the radar with that, but you're sent people. You're cocked out to America, you fucking embarrassing bastards. And you nearly let this England team score 400 on you, you freaks. Sorry.
They've already let them win a test.
Exactly. Imagine losing a test at home to England. Fuck off. You're a clown show.
Oh, what I will say, actually, there's a good point by Ben in chat. Actually, if you want to look at someone who's actually been a statesperson as a leader, obviously not as a leader of the actual of the whole country, right? But of just the of a constituent nation, it's Nicola Sturgeon.
Yeah.
She's the only person I can think of in this entire who's acted like a statesperson.
What was the little lad in Wales who's now not the First Minister? What was his name? He looked like a substitute teacher, but was actually okay. What was his name?
Oh yeah. Fuck, how can I not remember?
Yeah, I can't remember his name. Mark Drakeford. Thank you.
Mark Drakeford, yeah.
There we go. Yes, Mark Drakeford was okay. I'll give him that.
So he didn't really have much of a He didn't really have much of a much power because Wales was much kind of smaller and the devolution settlement isn't as strong. Whereas,
oh yeah, no, absolutely. But like, given the purview available to him, I think he did okay. But I mean, we're really clutching at straws. Bits of the country have done okay. Can we really not do better than this? Is this actually our fucking... Look, you know what they say about, like, you should try and strive for your potential? I genuinely, part of me thinks you shouldn't. Because if you strive for your potential, you realise how shit you actually are and what your limitations are. Whereas, if your potential is theoretical, well, I could be brilliant. You can trick yourself into thinking, well, I have the potential to be amazing. Whereas actually most people, I think probably myself included, would realise, no, you're average as fuck. You just are. And Britain has realised that its own potential, look, the reason that we became so great is because we stole so much shit from everywhere else. And now we can't do that, or at least to a lesser extent. The Commonwealth still exists, but, whatever. We've realised, oh no, actually we are bang average. We're shit, actually. This is the best we can do. When we don't have the tea of India for free and selling heroin to China, all of a sudden we're bollocks. Fuck me, that's New Year, same Kev. You know what, actually, New Year, new Kev. I'm going to be later and more sarcastic than ever.
So, a banger. It's going to be, to be fair, of all the things that could make 2026 at least somewhat bearable, those two things will make it so.
Let's go.
Happy New Year, and welcome to...
Fuck yourself. I hope you have a terrible year, you cunt.
So true.
2026. Welcome to a special...
Is that Steve Bray having a mental breakdown in the background? I don't know.
Honestly, I'm warming to him.
Yeah,
I'm warming to
that's
him.
fair.
Like,
fair enough. Actually, you know what? In a world made of anger, you should scream.
so true. Again, treating any of our political actors as anything other than fucking jokes to be laughed at, it's taking them at a level. You should either be angry or kind of derisive.
Yeah.
About these people. You shouldn't be treating these people with any kind of seriousness, because none of them are. No one in British politics is serious. Nobody. Apart from probably like Zach Palansky and the Scottish National Party. Right? Like, no one's serious. They're all fucking children. We're run by children.
Exactly.
Treat them like children.
Apart from rolled R's and super boob, we got nothing. That's it.
Literally.
Program with an exclusive and extended interview with the Prime Minister. This year could make or break Sir Keir Starmer's government.
Hopefully it breaks it. Please break. Yeah. Break.
Well, it will make it disappear.
So true.
Morning. The Prime Minister has been in trouble for months, with such pressure to show you he's the right man for the job. Maybe that's why he accepted our invitation to have a longer conversation with us than normal to explain why he reckons he's not going anywhere.
Well, I will be sitting in this seat by 2027, and if this long-form interview works, we can try it again in January of next year as well.
well, I definitely. I mean, firstly, he doesn't seem to. His neck seems to have disappeared. I don't know what's happened there over fucking Christmas, but there we go. And secondly, like, if you're a good enough client journalist and you happen to sell my brand of bullshit on your channel, I'll come back for more. But if you criticise me in any way, I'll literally arrest you as a terrorist.
Well, this in general, it's funny how it goes, well, if this interview works. I'm like, work? Your interviews are supposed to be for scrutiny of people in power, not as fucking campaign tools.
Yeah.
Although they're on like extra levels of delusion here. Somehow he and the Labour Party think that his government will be more successful and will be liked more if we see more of Keir Starmer. I have some bad news for the Labour Party.
Well, chat, clip it, right? He said that I will definitely be here in 2027. So get ready for me subtweeting the fuck out of his resignation letter.
Someone says he's got a head like a Roblox character.
It really does. He absolutely does. And literally his neck is gone. It's just shoulder and then chin. That's it. A part of his body is no longer there.
I think also, I think points out in chat, I think we need to have mandatory vasectomies for all tool makers.
True.
It's the only way we can save Britain, chat. There's no other way. Unfortunately, I know there's loads of tool makers out there who want to have kids, but we can't risk it. Not a second time, please.
To be fair, in post-industrial Britain, I'm not sure there are that many left. that's fine.
To be fair, they got rid of the 2-child benefit cap now. So all of those areas that have been fucking devastated by austerity and deindustrialization can continually be given welfare payments from all that we have left, which is the financial sector in London, and they can use that to churn out loads of kids that the government clearly wants them to have.
Yes, let's go.
Well, we'll hear what this lot think of his arguments. The former
Fucking Grant Shapps, one of the most corrupt bastards ever, and Nadine Dorries.
Grant Shapps? Don't you mean Corrine Stockheath?
Or one of his many other aliases.
Michael Green.
Yeah, a corrupt piece of shit. So, 2 former Tory ministers, and then whoever this bitch is in the middle.
Well, it's Layla Moran, it looks like to me.
Oh, so
I mean,
2 Tories and a Tory.
It's incredibly funny as well, for the Tories that it could get for an incredibly important programme about the breakdown of the international rules-based order officially, rather than just like de jure. They've got somebody who was like a nothing cabinet minister who lost the first round of the leadership election, and somebody who's basically just the gossipy auntie inside of the Tory party. And you know what? Slay. She's my messy queen, Nadine Dorries. She is great political telly. Maybe treat the fucking kidnapping of an international leader by a marauding imperial power with the fucking reverence that it deserves, which means you don't get fucking Nadine Dorries. What? Who are you gonna get fucking next? Russell Brand? What's it gonna be? BBC's Big Mouth? Is that what it's gonna be?
Yeah. Sunday with Laura Koonsberg's little brother. Let's go. You know, earlier when I made a certain reference to Britain and America's relationship in a jar, Nadine Dorries wishes she was the small horse in the jar for Boris Johnson.
So true.
Just saying. So someone pointed out, Nadine on day release from hospital. Jesus Christ.
Thank you, Vaminsky, for the gifties in the super chat.
Conservative Cabinet Minister, Sir Grant Shapps, Layla Moran for the
Sir Grant Shapps. If anything shows you that the honours system is a fucking disgrace and needs to be scrapped, it's the sentence, Sir Grant Shapps.
I mean, it's also worth pointing out too that this is on top of the fact that we now have we have both Thangam Debonair and Jonathan Ashworth on the
Sorry, I think you mean Thangam Debonair.
No.
There we go.
So true.
And former Tory, now Reform backer, Nadine Dorries. But as this year gets going, let's start with the extraordinary news of the last couple of days. Headlines everywhere.
Oh, sorry, I thought this was Erica Kirk's celebration again. No? No? Okay.
President Trump's strikes on Venezuela.
No, because you know she does the fireworks thing behind her all the time. It's a joke.
And his capture of his president, Nicolas Maduro. American forces struck the oil-rich South American country yesterday.
Your stream appears to be down, apparently.
Yes, it happens every fucking time. I'm so fucking sick of it. Just every single stream always goes down. I have no idea how to fix it. I have no idea what's going wrong. It's driving around the fucking bend. It's really, really, really frustrating me. I think you can hear that it is.
You do. I was just passing on information from my chat.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I mean, I'm just frustrated because I'm having to sort it out in the background now.
That's absolutely fine. We can take a second, do your thing. There's no rush. It's fine. Just we need to breathe. We good?
No, I'm just trying to.
Okay, we can wait. It's not a problem. Don't forget, you can give us both money to help improve with such situations. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe. Your names sound like a Japanese nerd's attempt to make an English name. What's Sir Grant Shapps? Yeah, that makes sense. Weren't there at one point 2 MPs called David Davis? I think there were. MTG refugees incoming. Well, much like normal refugees, we will accept you temporarily, and then you will have to be re-exported to the Rwanda that is No Justice MTG stream.
So true.
That is a bleak reference point, but there you go. But no, I mean, you can stay, you can leave, whatever. It's up to you.
I think I've managed to restart the stream and then raid my old stream into the new stream.
Okay, good. Well, everyone, go back to where you fucking came from. By which I mean you can go back to No Justice stream. I don't wish to profit from No Justice's technological issues.
Oh no, it's the stream's gone down again now. I'm just going to restart my PC. One sec.
Okay, yeah, right. Well, refugees back in, I guess.
Oh, it turns out everything's just gone down now. I'm just going to have to. I won't even let me use my mouse.
Okay. You probably have to turn it off by the button then and just restart it or something.
Maybe.
I don't know. Literally, other than that, I don't know what else to do. Okay. That was loud. Oh, okay. Okay, we'll turn the desktop audio off so whatever happens that doesn't have to do. Okay. Well, hello there, refugees. How are you? Are you well? I hope you're well. No Justice has now... No, hang on, they're still in the chat. They're still in the thing, so we'll wait for them. Anyway, how have we been? How has your new year been, chat? Tell me all about what you got up to. I, yesterday, went to a fantastic game of football. Birmingham City 3, Coventry City 2. It was mental. We took the lead 3 separate times. And then Coventry got a player sent off in the 94th minute or something. It's fucking awesome. Yeah. I mean, we're still mid-table as fuck, as I said we would be, but, you know, a win's a win, you know. Against top of the table as well. I can't have them that good. It was Birmingham playing. It can't have them that good. It was Birmingham playing. I don't know what that means, but thank you, yes. Yeah. I appreciate that. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Michael. That's not how it works, though. You are being Rwandaed. Regardless of your financial contributions, okay? Because we've got to try and win over 6 voters in Essex who might back reform. By the way, we'll get to it in the thing, but he mentions that they want closer ties with Europe. Which, like, okay, that's fine. He sort of said that during the election as well, I guess. But what was the point of trying to court reform voters then? If you're just now going to be like, well, we want closer ties with Europe. Well, that bang goes any chance of you ever getting any of those votes, you dopey bastard. Like, literally, the 7 people you might have won over in the entire country, a millionth of the population, might end up being like, you know, might end up, I've now gone as well. So, like, what was the point of it all? All you did was be extremely racist, move ludicrously far right in every conceivable way, just to piss it away on wanting closer ties with Europe anyway. Pick a fucking lane, mate. Pick a lane. Do you want to chase this type of voter or a different type of voter? Not like ones that are kind of close that you might be able to do. No, completely opposite fucking ends of the spectrum. What are you doing? Kumas still shy. He scored. Leave him alone. Actually, no, fuck it. Don't leave him alone. I don't care. Whatever. Only Greenland and Denmark should decide its future. Yeah, I know. I'd mentioned that earlier, yeah. He's backed himself into a corner, because when eventually Trump does invade Greenland and take it over, Starmer's going to have to come out and pretend he didn't say they shouldn't do that. Oh, yes, belter of a meme. Oh, that is not at all what I meant to do. I meant to take that tab and put it there. Boom. The US military kidnaps Maduro. Maduro is in the US illegally. ICE kidnaps Maduro and deports him to Venezuela. Maduro in Venezuela. Around he goes. Fuck yes. I'll take him back to Liverpool myself. Celtic need a new manager now. He's been sacked. Well, thankfully he's been sacked, yes. Just get O'Neill back for the rest of the season. He had him playing fucking brilliantly. Jesus Christ. Yeah, so that's several big departures now. Chelsea got rid of Maresca. Fucking Dickface, what's his name? From United got sacked. The Celtic have sacked it. Like, it's all over the place. Yeah.
I don't... Hopefully.
Yes. Okie doke. Thank you to Carl Brown for gifting a membership. Thank you to Holland
Sometimes may be good, sometimes may be shit.
for gifting 5 memberships. I'll turn the alert box off because we don't need that. Thank you Fuzzmos for gifting a membership. No, a community sub on Twitch. Much love. Are we good?
I have no idea. Maybe.
Okay. Okay, I'll turn off the noise so you can do that in peace. What's that? I hope you have a good one, thank you. Who's Dickface? Ruben Amorim was the name I was searching for but couldn't remember. Chat. Show this to No Justice. What is it? Oh, God almighty. Okay. Yeah, we can show that to No Justice. David Lammy might be the most embarrassing of all. Because at least he did used to have the backbone to come out and say Trump is a fascist, and now he's like, my Christian faith shows me it's right to curb jury trials. Yeah, true. Well, all I'll say is, if your Christian faith, Mr. Lammy, if Jesus had got a jury trial, he'd have probably been got off. He certainly wouldn't have got the death penalty. I'm just saying, it should teach you the opposite, I think, actually. That the rule of the mob goes with Barabbas, you dopey bastard. You have not read the Bible, or if you have, you have not understood it. Anyway. Okie doke. Let me know whenever you're okay. Okie doke. So, are we ready for more journalism of the award-winning variety? Nicked. What's NIC? Oh, Nicholas Maduro. Oh, that's shite. The Sun is such it's so poor. Yeah. Yeah. Or, I mean, they haven't gone full police with it and going like, Nicholas Maduro is currently helping American authorities with their investigations. We live in the stupidest timeline that has ever existed. Yeah. Yeah. I'm genuinely thinking, you know what, China, it's time to take over. You need to become the world superpower at this point, because America, it's gone. It's gone. Go on then. Okay.
And to encourage a peaceful transfer of power, I have been appointed interim president. I was close between me and Juan Guaido, but I've done it. I've been given the go-ahead by Xi Jinping to become interim prime minister of the United Kingdom, and I will be bringing peace, prosperity, and public infrastructure to Britain.
And if there's any consistency at all, you'll be awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for your actions as well.
Exactly.
Facts.
That stopped by a few minutes ago. Lise, what's happening at this moment?
Well, Nicolas Maduro.
Well, she doesn't know. She's talking to you, you dopey bastard. If you mean in the last hour, yeah, she might know something. Do you think she's got an earpiece with Caracas? What?
And his wife are now in detention in New York. Maduro must have had a sleepless night. And there is a huge question mark about what happens next in Venezuela. We heard yesterday from President Trump in a stunning reversal of everything he said he wouldn't do during his time in office. He has now said he is going to, in his words...
What the fuck do you... A stunning reversal? What's stunning about this? He literally doubled Barack Obama's drone strikes. He started wars left, right and centre. He supports genocide. He actively wants to make the genocide fucking worse. What is stunning about this is the journalist class are such fucking wankers. Oh, this is massively surprising. What a turn up for the book. The man who has lied publicly and famously for decades, since you were a child, Lise. Oh, it turns out he's a bullshitter. Who'da thunk it?
I've just scrolled my Twitter feed and found Kemi Badenoch saying, Trump is certainly unorthodox, but I'm not going to condemn or praise it. But I'm wondering that America isn't talking to us. Literally, she's like, I'm not going to talk about the violation of international law and the illegal capturing of foreign leaders. But what the real problem here is that actually Trump won't call us even after we swallowed all of the cum. Right? he fucked us and he fucked and chucked us.
Well, you know what? People don't often take the cum rag out on dates. Just saying, lads.
Run Venezuela, and that the allies and former officials working with Nicolas Maduro were very gracious, he said, about working with us. There was a blast from Caracas saying completely the opposite, that as far as they're concerned, Nicolas Maduro is still the president of Venezuela. Dulce Rodriguez, the vice president, has said, we will not be a colony of an empire.
And in the wild years of the 2020s, put this into context, is this jaw-dropping? Or actually, if you think about Donald Trump's character and his volatility, is this exactly the kind of thing we should have been expecting?
Jaw-dropping, yes, to use the words of the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres.
Again, even fucking Laura Kuenssberg, who is adult, Lise, has just said, is it actually that surprising? You've gone, yes, it is. I am surprised. Well, you don't deserve to do your job then. Resign. You're shit.
So true.
A dangerous precedent. What must Russia and China be thinking now for President Vladimir Putin, who... President Trump is looking at his backyard, so is President Putin looking at Ukraine, seeing it as part of its sphere of influence. The Chinese just had military actions around Taiwan, which was seen as a dress rehearsal for an invasion of Taiwan. If any country can certainly do what they want, this is a very dangerous time.
Lise Doucette, thanks so much. Well, all that is just another difficult situation for the Prime Minister to manage when he's got so much on his plate. He's been in trouble for many, many months. And some in Keir Starmer's party think that his time might be up in 2026. So yesterday, we went to number 10 to speak to Sir Keir Starmer about how he hopes to turn the troubles of 2025 into the promise of 2026. I remember watching you walk in here as Prime Minister for the first time. Does it still feel the same?
That was an amazing feeling. It was only the second time I'd ever been in the building, and I walked straight through, all the staff were here, clapping, into the cabinet room where I met Vic and the kids and Vic's dad. Had about 10 minutes with them, and then I was taken downstairs to begin the security briefings. But it is an amazing place to work. It's incredible.
Much of what's happened has been far from.
You're muted, Kev.
Apologies, I was muted. I was saying, we're such a modern nation that our head of state just or head of government, I should say, lives in a house where he's just got loads of portraits of old cunts in wigs.
I do kind of like just how it's like slightly understated that Number 10 looks in comparison to like the Kremlin or the White House.
Well, it looks like that on the outside because it's just a residential house. It's an Edwardian residential house. Interestingly, you know, the last person to own that house before it became owned and run and gifted as a prime ministerial residence was called Mr. Chicken.
Incredible scene.
Literally true. We don't even know their first name or anything else about them, but it was bought from a Mr. Chicken.
An adult human chicken.
Literally. I mean, actually, literally, yes.
Amazing. 2025 saw wobbles, walkouts, U-turns, and month after month of the Prime Minister and his party's popularity on the slide. Even predictions 2026 could see him being booted out.
I knew this would be tough. There was nothing easy about this. So it has been. But the question now as we turn 25 into 26 is we're turning a corner.
Do you feel ready for 26?
Ready, confident, optimistic, looking forward to it.
All words
so
I have
I'm glad
never
that we got
used.
to this stage.
Yeah, exactly. Also, I like the fact that he said we're turning a corner as he was walking in a straight line. Look, I know that it's just the metaphor of it. Yeah, everything he says is bollocks.
Reasons to be cheerful? Let's see.
Prime Minister, 2026 could transform or perhaps even terminate your leadership. So I wonder, what's your New Year's resolution?
Well, I'm looking forward to 2026. I think it's going to be the year when we turn a corner as a country. A lot of the decisions we took in 2025 will come into force effectively in 2026. And I think that for many people who've waited 16, 17 long years for their living standards to improve, for their public services to improve, they need now to feel the change. And that's what 2026 is going to be about. We've talked about renewing the country. That will become a reality. And each month there will be actions delivered which will make a material change to people across the country. So this is very much turning the corner, whether that's on the economy, on education, on defence and security. It's a year to look forward to. It's a year that I'm optimistic about, and I think it will reflect the hard work that we've put in already to turn the country around.
You seem very cheerful, and some people might be almost surprised that you're optimistic because you've had a very torrid time. I mean, I thought your resolution might be that you're still sitting in that seat by 2027.
Well, I will be sitting in this seat by 2027, and if this long-form interview works, we can try it again in January of next year as well.
But you know, and everyone watching knows, that there are even some people on your own side who think 2026 might have to be the end. Some of them want you out. How are you going to stop that happening?
Well, I think what's really important is that we are clear about what we have achieved already. There's a huge amount that we've achieved in terms of the economy. Wages have gone up more quickly in the first year under this government than in the first 10 years under the previous government. Inflation is coming down, and the Bank of England are clear that it's on track to meet target by spring or summer of this year. We've had 6 interest rate cuts in a row, so it's now dropping at a rate which is the highest pace of drop for 17 years, since the crash, in fact. And of course, the IMF are clear that we had the second, or likely to have the second highest growth in the G7 in 2025. On top of that, obviously, we've done a lot of work on...
Whoa, that's not what the mission said. That's not what the mission said. You had the longest sustained growth in the G7 was supposed to be the benchmark. Oh, well, so that's just gone now, is it? Think about muted again, Kev.
Fucking hell! Ah! Anyway.
No, that's my thoughts exactly about
So
the events of the last half an hour.
Yes. So they're just back to doing like comms. That's all that's happening here. All he's doing is like, oh, these are lines that he's been given to say. It's pre-programmed. Pull the string on him, and he'll just say whatever's there. It's ridiculous.
Because I mean, it is worth pointing out that these things aren't like untrue. It is true inflation has come down. It is true that interest rates have come down, and it is true that wages are going up. And like, these are all self-corrections from the previous inflationary period. Like, there was going to be a period of correction for wages as the additional price flows to companies therefore led into more competitive labour markets, right?
Yeah.
It was going to be the case that inflation was going to come down as all of the situations that caused prices to go up in the first place dissipated and the new price level is set. And when inflation comes down, the Bank of England responds by reducing interest rates. Like, none of these things are necessarily because of actions that the Prime Minister nor the government have taken.
Yeah.
Good, though they are, right? It's perfectly reasonable. But that's what happens when you have an inflationary crisis. The prices go up, then they settle at the new price. Interest rates go up and then come down as inflation peaks and troughs, and wages go up and then increase to meet where the new price level is.
Yeah.
On free school meals, on breakfast clubs, towering down on child poverty. So there's a huge amount that's been done, and that leaves out of account the cut to NHS waiting list, gone down by 300,000.
Do you just have to argue with the idea that you're clamping down on child poverty when, under your government, we have reached a record high of child homelessness?
Yeah, literally.
That happened
and
on
again,
your watch. Your watch, dear. That happened under you.
And they deliberately made sure that it would happen. They deliberately looked at people who said, let's get rid of the 2-child cap on universal credit, and told them to fuck off, expelled them from the party, or had the whip removed from them from doing so, and said that they couldn't afford to do it. And now suddenly that's all changed round. Now they realise they're losing votes to the Green Party. Yeah. So that's, again, just a brazen massaging of reality from Keir Starmer there. Although it's worth pointing out that the one thing that he said so far he actually can take credit for is the reduction in NHS waiting lists. And I'm just like, you're scraping the bottom of the barrel given that you're taking over from the Conservative Party.
Yeah.
5 million extra appointments. And so people are always focusing, as happens in politics, on other things that might have happened. But actually, if you look at what's already happened, we've got a lot to be very proud of. I'm really pleased.
Oh, God. Donald Trump has had printed hats that say, "Make Iran great again." World War III, baby! Can't wait.
Let's go.
Can't wait. You know what? By comparison, take Greenland. For fuck's sake. If that stops you... Because Iran can fuck you up, and there are nuclear interests at play, because Russia has shit there. Stop.
Is that as we turn into 2026, some of the things we're legislating for that take time will now come on stream in 2026, and that's why I am looking forward to 2026. I'm optimistic about turning the corner, which is good. It's good for the country.
And we'll talk a bit more about the economy in a second. But I just wonder if you want to acknowledge, really, the hole in a way that you are in, because in September we had a bit of a similar conversation. You said, "Look, I just need the space to do the job. Give me time. You'll show people." And since then, actually, your ratings have got worse. More of your plans had to be ditched by your political decision making, even at the Rover.
What do you mean, chat? Vietnam too? What? There's no comparison. I mean, it's not like Iran has a strong military and a nation that doesn't want to be invaded and a long history of resistance to that, and is a mountainous hellscape. Oh no. Oh no.
I mean, people are pointing out the same thing is true of Venezuela as well. Like, they're going to have an insurgency in Venezuela if they try and take over, because it's also a place where there's going to be plenty of easy terrain with which to do that.
Yeah, are there lots of mountains and forest in Venezuela that can be exploited for guerrilla warfare tactics? I don't think so. Oh yeah, no, there is loads. It's everywhere. It's literally fucking everything. So, you know what? You can take the beaches, and that's about it.
variety performance.
Yes,
someone
chat. Yes,
impersonating
chat.
you
I know
was
it's
booed.
buffering.
Now,
I can't do anything. Please, I understand you're trying to help me by telling me that my stream is buffering. I understand you're trying to help me, and that's fine. I can't do anything about it. I just can't do anything. There's nothing I can do. I don't control Streamlabs. I don't control Virgin Media. I can't just get a new PC in the next 5 minutes. There's nothing I can do. I mean, if you want to watch on Kev's stream or come over to Twitch, where apparently it seems to be fine on Twitch, that's fine. But there's nothing I can do. There's nothing. The pointing this out to me is it achieves nothing.
Okay.
Many measures, you are historically unpopular, even more unpopular than Liz Truss.
Oh, it's outrageous. She just killed him. Oh. You know what, Kira? I bet you wish you'd been fucking kidnapped instead. Jesus. Oh.
Do you acknowledge that at the beginning of this year?
Look, I'm not surprised that people are frustrated. I completely get that. The truth is, since the crash in 2008, most people haven't seen their living standards improve. They haven't seen their public services move in the right direction. They've seen them move in the wrong direction. And they've lost trust in politics. So when we went to the electorate in 2024 saying our manifesto pledge is change, many people said, yes, I want that change. I'm fed up. But then what happened is that people wanted the change to come more quickly. I actually really understand that because if, for example, you were 30, let's say, by way of example, in 2008 when the 2008 crash, you've waited, you're now 47, and you will feel, well, a good chunk of my life has gone without things getting better. If you were perhaps 50, you would be near retirement now. You'd say, I want things to happen more quickly. So I actually do understand the frustration. My job, I was given a 5-year mandate to change this country around, and I said we'd do it in a serious way, with long-term measures that would act.
Serious, grown-up, technocratic, sensible. Enjoy your P45, because you're not going to be Prime Minister very much longer.
It's honestly, it's so funny because it's just exactly what we said would happen.
Yeah, it's just
literally.
We tried to adults in the room and that didn't work. You know what we need to do? Adults in the room harder. Fuck me. He's an evangelist for mediocrity. That's all he is. He just preaches this, we're sensible, we're grown-ups, and then does right-wing shit and then wonders why anyone vaguely to the left of Genghis Khan doesn't want to fucking vote for him.
Because again, this is the central plank of their entire politics, right? I mean, the reason why they're not saying anything else is because they don't believe anything else.
Yeah.
They have convinced themselves, and they've wholly convinced themselves, basically for the entirety of the Labour rights existence, that the only reason why anything goes wrong is because the Conservative Party are bad because they're bad people. Not because their ideology necessarily leads to worse outcomes, but because they're incompetent at governing, right? There are bad people who are incompetent, and then we're the competent ones. But the only reason why we are not in government forever because of our sheer competency is because we keep getting undermined by the ideological monsters of the Labour left who hold us back by wanting things that, are good, right? That's their central ideology, that's their central belief system. And this is why they have no answer to when their sensible centrist technocracy doesn't work, because it blows up the charade of the way in which they have governed up to this point.
Well,
it gives two things. First of all, it means actually governance is hard, and maybe the Tories are not just incompetent like they think they are. And second of all, that actually maybe all of the crazy lefties in our party actually have ideas and genuine things that are true and that they believe that we actually shouldn't have been deriding. Maybe they were right, but again, these people would rather destroy the country than admit that the left were right ever.
Very much true. Very much true. You know what they're going to need after this interview, though? Reset number 32. Let's go!
Let's go!
Fuck me. He's going to be so laser focused.
Actually benefit the country. Not slogans, not easy answers.
All you are is slogans. Literally, we have a game called Keir Starmer Bingo, based upon the fact that you say the same 12 things all the fucking time.
Literally, again, like again.
Oh.
The thing is, they know that that's what we think about him, given that he made the toolmaker joke at the conference.
Yeah, exactly.
You all know
Yeah.
my dad, and I like you know that we know that all you do is repeat the same shit over and over and over again. It's the now is not the time for slogans, but I can feel the hand of history on my shoulder.
Oh, Tony Blair, the T-man. Absolutely lovely stuff. Yeah, like it's ridiculous. Yeah, he says, "Let me be clear," every fucking sentence. You know what this is, Kia, though? Sticking plaster politics!
I mean, ironically, that's true. I mean, if there's anything that you could use to legitimately describe Labour's time in government, is that they are looking at a failing state, a collapsing political realm, and the revolt of the electorate, and literally trying to put tiny sticking plasters over the gaping wound that is British democracy. Right?
True.
They are the personification, the manifestation in reality, the corporeal form of sticking plaster politics.
True. No, Marcel, you may have misunderstood. The "now is not the time for things" slogan, that was Tony Blair after the signing of the Belfast Good Friday Agreement in 99, 8, whatever it was, and he literally said that. He literally came out and his first sentence was, "Now is not the time for slogans, but I feel the hand of history on my shoulder," which is 2 slogans in 1 sentence. Like, the guy was just a fucking malfunctioning machine. Oh.
All the things that failed so miserably over the last 14 years of the last government, but to do it differently, and that's what we're doing.
But isn't it also the case that there have been an awful lot of unforced errors in your government? This is not just about people's impatience, which you say you understand. I mean, even just in the last few days, I wonder, are you sorry that you wrote you were delighted that a British Egyptian activist, Ala Abdel Fattah, was back in the UK when he'd previously said killing any colonialists, especially Zionists, was heroic. He also said there was no genocide against the Jews by the Nazis. Are you sorry you welcomed him back?
It's almost like they didn't really look into this guy at all.
I mean, it's worth pointing out that the second comment she's referencing there was quite literally a joke. And if you look at the actual tweet, it's him sarcastically responding to a Holocaust denier or someone who engages in anti-Semitism by saying, "Oh yeah, and the Holocaust didn't happen as well. I'm assuming you believe," something like that. Like this. I mean, if you find the original tweet, like the original comment about colonialists and Zionists, he did say that, and that was sarcastic. But they've pulled up a bunch of sarcastic tweets that he put out and are acting like that they were true.
Yeah.
Even Tom Harwood admitted
Which
that
is
this
not...
guy was being unfairly represented.
But this tactic is why I could never run for office, because even if we ignore all the things I've said that I meant, if you just take the sarcastic things that I've said, you would think I was a fucking monster.
Well, that is true. That's true. Yeah.
I've said literally today, I described some of the people coming over from your stream as being Rwandaed back to your stream.
I mean, it'd be very funny if you get like capture. You go on holidays, I don't know, some other country, and they capture you, and the government bargains for your release. And it's like, oh, hang on a minute. This guy once said that he was wanting to finger the corpse of the Conservative.
Well, at least you could understand that is funny because it's not a real thing. I have said that about really existing people as well. So you say, Mr. Logan, you said you wanted to finger the corpse of the late Queen. You said you would people could pay you money to insert yourself digitally into the late monarch. Good Lord, sir.
Back to the UK.
Those comments are abhorrent, and I condemn them utterly. So let's be
okay, but like you also deny that there's a genocide happening against the Palestinians. So like you're in no position to disavow any Holocaust denial. You're just armed.
Well, he publicly denies it, but in private he supports it.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's the worst of it, because he's literally doing a genocide while going, well, denying a genocide is terrible and awful, unlike what I do, which is just genocide. Because, like, actually, that's what's annoying about him. The fact that he denied a genocide, even jokingly, he denied a genocide means that he's not giving Keir Starmer his rightful praise as a genocider. Okay? You must recognise his game as a genocider. Otherwise, you're just doing disrespect. Put some respect on his genocidal name, motherfuckers.
Really clear about that. As I made clear, I didn't know about those comments at the time of welcoming Al-Fatah to this country. But what I would say, just stepping back from it, Laura, is...
Just the fact that
as you
his
know,
name
the
is
consular case-
Al-Fatah as well is quite funny. Like, I know, like, there are probably people called, like, Osama bin Laden in the world who are just like, oh, for fuck's sake, mate. Could you not have been called anything else?
I was literally in school with a kid called Osama in like 2003, and I was just like,
no.
God, fucking give the kid a chance.
Oh, that is right. Imagine you just called your kid Osama like the week before that happened. Like, because you didn't know who the fuck he was or anything. Like, you just know. You thought Osama's a cool name. I'll give my kid that. His whole life is now just going to be compared to Bin Laden forever.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
There was the Frankie Boyle joke about Barack Obama, whose first name sounds like Iraq, and his surname is like halfway between Osama and a bomber.
Literally true. Literally true. Someone called Goebbels scored for Paris FC this week. Is that true? Oh, for fuck's sake. Imagine having to do the PR for Goebbels. That's it. Well, there you go.
Is one of the jobs of the British government, all British government.
Well, actually, didn't one of Gaddafi's sons or grandsons recently play for AC Milan as well? I think.
Incredible scenes.
Like, I mean, it's not his fault, right? If your dad / granddad, I can't remember what relation he was. Look, if he does some fucked up shit, that shouldn't stop you. But like, I can't imagine cheering on a Gaddafi.
Just this British government, where someone is being treated in an improper way in another country, if they're a British national, is to take action to try to alleviate that situation. And that's why I acted in this case. And actually, previous prime ministers acted in exactly the same way in the actions they took to try to get him released, because that's what happens in consular cases.
But it's almost impossible to understand that no one in the government had bothered to check what he'd said before, and then
Oh,
the Prime Minister of
Juventus,
this country
okay,
says
okay.
he's delighted to welcome somebody back who'd expressed those views. Are you sorry you did?
Well, of course I regret that, and your point that somebody I've made my...
Like, I'm sorry, he could have said anything on Twitter, literally anything, and he would still be, there would still be the right of the government, it would still be correct for the government to want them to be released from the fucking foreign prison where they're being held for, essentially, on crimes of sedition, purely for opposing a dictatorial regime, right? Like, I don't give a... I could not have given a shit if Nassaneen Sakari Radcliffe ate dogs, right? Like, I mean, that's fair, like, that's not even legal. It's legal. Eight, like, I don't know, like severed limbs, right?
Yeah.
Well, if Nassaneen Sakari Radcliffe like had a not like she killed people. I'm saying that she just went to like she grave robbed people's corpses, fresh, and just cooked them and ate them, right?
If she was Ed Gein, yes, okay.
There you go. And there would still be the duty of the government to pressure Iran to release her.
Yeah,
right?
exactly, yeah.
In exactly the same way that they did at this point. Now, again, she doesn't do that, and it was correct. But it doesn't matter what the fuck Al-Fatah said on Twitter. He was a British citizen held as a political prisoner by the Egyptians. He should have been released, and they should have been lobbied for the release. It's as simple as that.
And unless he's committed any crimes in Britain for which he should be charged and convicted and imprisoned in Britain, then there's no argument to be had. Either way, he's a British citizen. This was my argument with Shamima Begum, right?
Yeah.
Like, she's a British citizen. If she's committed crimes for which she is guilty in Britain, bring her back and put her on trial. Fine. Absolutely no problems. But you can't just leave her as a stateless pirate in a fucking prison forever, or in a concentration camp prison forever and ever and ever. That's ridiculous. Because the thing is, this is what the old thing about when you fight for other people's rights, you're not fighting for them, you're fighting for yourself. Because if they can take those people's rights away, they'll take your fucking rights away. So as soon as it becomes convenient, they'll take your fucking citizenship off you as well. So it doesn't matter. You can despise Shamima Begum, you can despise Al-Fatah, you can despise any person you like. Protect your own rights by protecting everyone's fucking rights. Exactly, I don't care if you hate trans people. You fight for trans people's rights, because if they stop trans people from taking a piss, they'll stop you from taking a fucking piss. Because the 100%. government, by their very nature, want to impose themselves upon people, and the reason they're not able to is because the people tell them to go fuck themselves. It's not like it's such a cocked attitude of being like, well, those people can go fuck themselves, I'll be alright. No, you won't. Have you not read the poem? First they came for the communists, and I did not speak out, because I was not a communist. Literally, they come for the people who you consider to be most extreme first, and eventually they'll come for you. Please, learn the lesson. It happened almost a century ago now.
And it's the reality that these people believe themselves to be within the in-group, so will never be targeted, right?
Yeah.
And this is why, it's crazy that not only, just over a decade on from the revolt over 60-day detention, the people are like, no, but we can't let them go this far, even against suspected terrorists, because they could then do that to us, right? Not more than a decade on from Blair trying to push that through and being rebuked by Parliament, we have like an entire political consensus that just if the government doesn't like you for whatever reason, they can upend the constitutional norms to be able to fuck you over, right?
Yeah.
And that's going to be the reality.
Literally, to your point about them believing themselves to be part of groups that won't be touched, Pastor Martin Niemöller, the man who wrote that poem, literally was that. He was literally that. He was a Lutheran pastor, he was a Christian, a pastor, was an avowed Nazi in his younger days, and was certainly very far right-wing, didn't like Jewish people, right? Was not a nice man in many respects. And he supported the Nazis. I think he actually voted for the Nazis in one particular election. And eventually, he came to realise the evil of it, because eventually they did come for him, and he did end up in a prison camp. Because he thought he was part of that process. And so he's writing about this, not as an abstract concept, which in of itself is true, but literally his lived experience. Please, for the love of God, humans, learn that lesson. I'm begging you.
And it's why the press, the right-wing press, and who believe themselves, they are the in-group. They're the ones in control because they are the ones who have the power. And that's, again, who the in-group is. The in-group is power and the out-group is people without power. That will always be the real in-group, real materialist ours who up, right? That's why the right-wing press have just hammered the idea of an independent judiciary. That's why they're absolutely furious about the idea of the supposed activist judges, i.e. because they believe that there can't be a bulwark above the government that can stop them from violating constitutional norms. They want to be able to do that because they want to fuck over people who they seem to be basically subhuman. That's the role of the right-wing press, and they're there to manufacture consent for those constitutional norms to go away to be able to facilitate it, because anything might be done by the government to prevent them from being in control. President Sunday was in chat the other day pointing out this is the reality of a world governed by billionaires, where they have more power than governments and they can use their money to be able to launder their interests and reputations through the media, through the press, through government policy, through owning politicians, through owning all the channels of communication to get what they want.
Yeah. Actually, a great example of the thing you mentioned a second ago about the restriction of power on governments. The example of them, kneecap were let off on a technicality, right? Even though they weren't guilty anyway. But regardless of that, they were let off on a technicality. The government didn't post the thing properly, and so the case falls. You don't have the jurisdiction in this area because you posted the complaint wrong, so fuck you, it's over. The government have appealed that. Not because they think they can actually win the case, but because they're challenging the very concept, it seems to me, that government should be restricted by courts. They can't take no for an answer. The courts have said, you improperly filed this, fuck off, get out of my face, and they've appealed it. In the service of a genocidal nation. It's madness. It's fucking madness. This arguably is one of the most totalitarian governments this country has ever seen.
Exactly, that's going to be the reality. I mean, if you wanted anyone to openly say why they believe that they should be more powerful than governments, right? You should look at the statement that Elon Musk made when he said that he was changing his affiliation from Democrat to Republican. Yeah. And he specifically said that there were two groups that he wanted to defeat the Democrats for, that they were in hock to. And he described them as class action lawyers and trade unions, which is ironic because the Democratic Party are fucking spineless and don't stand up for trade unions. But in his mind, the two interest groups who he felt that the Democratic Party represented, which is why they needed to be defeated, were class action lawyers and trade unions, i.e. the two people who can hold billionaires accountable, i.e. the collective power of working people to be able to weaponize their labor against the interests of the wealthy and the bourgeois, and lawyers who can hold people accountable when they use their money to break the law or to break the Constitution, right? It's why the Republicans wanted to pack the Supreme Court. It's why that the press want to undermine the judiciary, because not only because it constrains the government from being able to do the interests of the powerful, but it also constrains the powerful as well, prima facie.
Yeah. Well, another fantastic tweet which illuminates that same point was from Elon Musk talking about the Janine Áñez coup in Bolivia that overthrew Evo Morales. And someone said, you're only doing this for lithium, lithium deposits and all the rest of it. You shouldn't coup people. This is undemocratic, blah, blah, blah. And his literal response was, we'll coup whoever we want.
Yep.
And that is the man that went on to then buy the general election for Donald Trump last year. No, 2 years ago now, technically. Yeah. There you go. If you want to know who's in power there, it's probably Elon Musk.
Myself to the appropriate team, because I do think I should have been made aware, and I wasn't made aware, and that is.
He's never made aware of anything. He had the emails that showed that his best friends was his ambassador to the United States was yum best friends with a pederast, a pedophile, a child rapist, and they were on his desk, and he was like, I didn't know. What do you mean you didn't know? Well, if you don't know, you shouldn't be in that position. You're not capable or suitable to be Prime Minister. If you have information available to you and you don't know it, leave. Let someone else with who gives a fuck do it.
And things, they were even given forewarning about the new information that was let out, and they went out and defended him in the Commons before then rescinding their defence, citing the information that they had been given before they defended it. They're just, not only are they unfit for government, they're also just open and brazen liars.
He's literally doing the governmental equivalent of Arsene Wenger's "I did not see it." You were literally watching the game. What do you mean you didn't see it? What?
System, which is why we're carrying out a review. But to meet your challenge, yes, it's a failing within the system. It shouldn't have happened, and I wasn't very pleased about it when I found out. Hence, we're taking remedial action.
Let's then talk about the economy in a bit more detail. You've already.
What do you mean remedial action? There's nothing you can do about that. Holocaust denial is not illegal. So even if it were a serious tweet, he hasn't committed a crime. That's it then. There's nothing you can do. You can say, tut tut, he shouldn't have tweeted those things, and that is as much as you can do.
Now, you promised that you would use the power that you have in this building to get the economy growing. But on one of the most fundamental measures...
I'm sorry to keep ending. It's going to take fucking days to get through. But it's so annoying to me that she says the power within this building. No. The power doesn't reside in that building. The power resides in the nation. We're a nation of 70 million people. The real power to turn around the NHS, yes, it needs to be good policy, but ultimately, nurses need to be involved. The doctors need to be involved. Everyone needs to be involved in that. So trying to turn around the NHS whilst also going to war with the junior doctors is fundamentally absurd. It's a ridiculous thing to try and do. You know, the idea that the power resides in one man or one building is disgusting and needs to be fucking destroyed for this country to ever advance.
I mean, we treat our prime ministers like presidents, even though presidents aren't supposed to have that power anyway.
But at least they are directly elected. Our executive needs to fucking remember it sits at the behest of Parliament, which sits at the behest of the people. Not, you are our fucking servants. You are not our rulers.
That's why they say power rather than office.
Exactly.
It grinds the gears so hard. And that's the thing, right, is that the internal democracy of the Labour Party, and indeed the Conservative Party, and potentially Reform as well, given whoever's in government, is also fundamental to the functioning of democracy as well, given that the Lord Chancellor is given the position at the will of the people within the party. If they have such dictatorial control over the internal workings of that party, then Parliament is no longer sovereign. Parliament no longer makes decisions. It's all been subsumed by the executive, unless you can actually have the security of knowing that the Prime Minister can be held accountable by his own party. And he can't be.
Well, exactly. Well, this is the thing. Like, people might think we're being slightly churlish in pointing out that, you know, he lost that vote in Parliament or on the benefits cut, because, at least in part, because he hadn't met some of his own backbenchers. Literally, they'd never met him. Now, that might sound like, well, why does that matter? Again, you should think away the way it's structured. He sits because he has the confidence of Parliament. That's it. That's the only reason he is Prime Minister and could possibly remain Prime Minister. It could be revoked in an instant if Parliament so wished. Yeah. So you would think, even though he does have a large majority, he'd try and touch base with everybody, just every now and then. Just have a word, pop into an office, say hello, invite a few of the backbenchers in for a meeting. Just
maintain
try and
that confidence.
Exactly. Make sure that you have the majority that you have in Parliament remains. Because if people have never met you, how can they actually have confidence in you? In a genuine working sense. Obviously, 70 million people haven't met him. But the point is, if the 400 and whatever members of Parliament he has, some of them haven't met him, how do they even know what he's about? How do you judge a person on an interpersonal basis if you've never had an interpersonal interaction with a person? You can't. Ridiculous. And again, it shows the contempt he and the Politburo have for Parliament, because the executive thinks of itself as above the law.
Of that, it's becoming harder for people to get a job. Unemployment is going up. And many people in the business community say that's because you made a basic mistake at the beginning, because you made it more expensive to give someone a job. And rising unemployment is the consequence. They're right, aren't they?
The number of people...
As if this is the thing she's going to ask him about.
The number of people who are inactive and now looking for work has gone up. That's a good thing. But we obviously need to meet the challenge of unemployment, and we will meet that challenge of unemployment. I'm particularly concerned about young people who are unemployed, and that's why we put in place a number of measures to ameliorate that situation. But I've long believed that on the economy, the most important thing was to stabilise, to make sure that we've got growth in the system.
There we go. Press the grow button. Yeah, brilliant. Big red buttons in chat, everyone.
Hadn't had before, and that's why I'm really pleased. The IMF, which looks across the board at different countries, is likely to predict that 2025 we were the second highest growth in the G7. We're creating the conditions for further growth, and for me that's the most important thing for the economy.
But if you have made the right decisions, why do the very latest figures show that we have the lowest investment compared to other comparable countries? That's what the latest figures say. And again, on that most basic way that people experience the economy, their job, trying to find a job, that's becoming harder.
I mean,
so you won't meet the challenge of that. What does that mean?
I just find it really frustrating that we're continuing with this idea that, well, suddenly unemployment is this massive issue. And I'm like, it has gone up slightly from like a low that it hasn't been lower than since fucking the 1970s. Unemployment has been kind of 6 or 7% most of the time between the late 70s and 2015 or whatever, and the idea that somehow unemployment being like just under 5% now is a real problem, nonsense, total nonsense. It's absolute, like the unemployment is literally just fine right now. The problem is we don't have a good enough welfare state to support people who do end up being unemployed. But the most people have the consensus that the level to which the unemployment becomes a problem is when it gets below 5%, not when it's still below 5% and going up, right? Unemployment will always happen. It will always be. It was a unique condition of the last 10 years or whatever, or last 15 years, that led to unemployment being lower than 5% for so long. But it's not a problem, really. If it was 10% unemployment, maybe we could talk about that. Maybe we could have a discussion, like, it was under Thatcher. But now it's less than 5% still. I don't think that's an issue.
Are you saying it's not an issue?
It's quite literally not an issue.
It's not an issue, chat.
How are you going to help?
We've had record private investment into this country, £250 billion, which is a record. And of course, we've put in £120 billion of capital funding from the government. At the same time, we've changed the rules on...
Again, just bear that in mind, right? The 125... by the way, he looks like he's had a stroke in that pause. That is not good. Oof. Anyway, the 120 billion capital expenditure, so on and so forth. Put that into perspective with like the winter fuel stuff. That wanted to save, at its best, its most generous estimation was 1.5 billion. They pissed away all of that capital for what, less than 1% of the thing on this one policy area. And the same is
I mean-
true with the disability cuts as well. Like, the governmental spend is so massive. The idea of cutting $1.5 billion and destroying your government in the process is absurd.
I mean, it is interesting as well that actually a lot of the press seems to talk about the winter fuel allowance stuff as being like their original sin. And maybe that in the narrative-wise it is an original sin, I guess. But in terms of the point of inflection that caused them to completely tank, you're right, it is the disability cuts that's to blame. Because whilst, of course, there were certainly some people who were of retirement age who voted Labour more so than previously, whereas obviously loads of people just never voted Labour during Corbyn and Miliband, right? There was some more. There still weren't, right? Many older people who voted Labour. It was mostly Tory and Reform that they voted, and to the tune of like 60%, I think most of them voted Tory or Reform.
Yeah.
So they didn't actually have that many votes to lose. People were mad, people were angry, right? But it was hardly a case of people going, well, I voted for the Labour Party so that they would continue giving pensioners the money. I'm like, no one was doing that, right? And so they didn't lose many votes. But the disability stuff really cost them votes. And the reason why there's a difference in the discussion here is because when it comes to the disability cuts, all of our press, all of the politicians, our entire political and media class are all in lockstep in the idea that somehow disability is too generous.
Yeah.
Obviously, a nonsense to anyone who lives on the ground in the real world. But if you're a posh, privately educated member of our political and media class, you don't care. Because even if you're disabled, you're usually rich enough to not have to care, or that your parents are rich enough, right? But most disabled people aren't in that position, especially people in the north who've been working in manual labour their whole lives and have to stop working at 50 with a bad back, who need disability, who might lose it. And these are the kind of people who are the voted Labour my whole life, never vote again people, who realise, actually, if they take away my disability after working my fucking back in my whole life, that will tell you that the party doesn't fucking care about you. And young people just think that welfare is kind of good on its own merit. This is why, right? He could be an unpopular prime minister by losing the elderly. But the unique problem of Keir Starmer is that all the people who don't like him really fucking hate him. And all the people who are part of Labour's base electorate have been told that they're fucking scum, anti-Semite, Trotskyist, not adults in the room children.
Yeah.
And those are the people who think the disability cuts are bad. And that's why that is the point where he became, like, completely untenable as prime minister.
Well,
no base and no swing voters.
Well, exactly. You make the point, yeah, that he's disaffected both. I mean, the right always hated him, I guess, but like the left had already, or the kind of most of the left had already left him, and now even the kind of soft left has now completely gone, and that's like he's alienated everybody. When you talk about original sin, I mean. The way in which I would put it is, yes, obviously it was worse for their voting base, the disability stuff, but the problem. And the reason that I bring up the winter fuel allowance stuff so much is because it was at that point that they lost the fight, if that makes sense. The honeymoon period you're supposed to get, which people will give you because they understand you're not going to be able to just flick a switch. You can't literally press a grow button and it just growth happens, right? You need to actually have some time to turn it around. They give you 6 months, a year, maybe. Tony Blair had an amazing golden period. The first couple of years, I don't think he had a single MP vote against him. He didn't have a single rebellion against him in the first 2 years. It took like 6 years before he lost a vote in Parliament, which is an amazing run of form. He had a big majority, but even so, I mean, he's got a big majority, a sizable majority, almost as big as Blair had, and he lost a vote pretty straightforwardly. It's that the battle of the PR was lost instantly for nothing. Again, for 1.5 billion, which is pennies to the British government. It really isn't that big a deal. They've never been able to regain any semblance of momentum after that. They cut themselves off at the knee and then tried to run. Like, it can't work. So I understand the point you're making, and I think you're absolutely correct in terms of the voting base. But I think all that did was shorten the time at which that voting base would have left, because the pattern of this government are a bunch of cunts who just want to, like, hit out at vulnerable people was established from day one.
It's so true. It's so true. I mean, it's funny though that the media described attacking pensioners as attack people who can't fight back. I'm like, they're the biggest voting cohort in the country, right?
They are, other than billionaires, they are, of which, by the way, virtually every billionaire is in that cohort anyway. But regardless, other than billionaires, they are the most powerful block of people in the country, yes.
Yeah, it's so true. As disabled people have no one left. They literally all they can do is survive off of the goodwill of the electorate. And if that dude goes, they get they get treated like useless eaters, which is basically where the press is
Well,
with regards to the disabled now.
I dread to think of living at the behest of the goodwill of the British electorate.
I know, right? The crabs and the buckets themselves. What I think is really good.
It's turkeys wanting to live at the behest of Bernard Matthews. It's ridiculous.
So true. And there is a thing. You're really kind of incisive looking at the difference between Blair and Starmer in terms of losing votes in Parliament or having backbench rebellions, right? Whereas Blair had a giant. They're both kind of in the same position. They both have giant majorities based off of Conservative failure,
which really should be unassailable. There's no excuse to be in this position in that regard. Yeah.
There is no excuse. No, right? Exactly, 100%. And what's interesting as well is you talked about the kind of the difference in the level to which they act like adults. In the Tony Blair knew his majority was so fucking massive, such a gigantic power he commanded in the House of Commons. If there was a rebellion, who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares if Jeremy Corbyn and Diane Abbott don't vote with your stupid authoritarian garbage policy? Who gives a shit, right? Because we'll win the vote in Parliament and it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it does not matter if 7 people rebel.
Exactly. In his majority, because didn't he have a majority of 143? So you'd need
something crazy like that.
Yeah, so in that, let's take that number because that's the one I remember. I think you'd need to lose 72 of your own MPs and have every other opposition MP turn up and vote against you to lose by one. It's never going to happen.
Yeah, but it was just the idea that we're just going to govern, and these people, they're in our party, we disagree with them, but they have no power at all, so we can forget about them. We are just going to let them do what they want, but act in the national interest in the meantime. And yet with this administration, right, they're such giant fucking babies, such toddlers, such children, such genuinely fucking spiteful 5-year-old mentality, that they had all of the goodwill of the electorate and the power to just go, oh, what, Zara Sultana and Richard Bergen are voting with the SNP? Have fun losing in Parliament every single vote. We have a giant majority. We're going to ignore you. They went, how fucking dare you tell God King Starmer that he's wrong. You must be punished. We will punish you for this insolence. I'm just like, there was no reason to do this other than just to spite the left, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Whereas all Tony Blair did, he hated the left, but he was never spiteful about them because he realised that he'd won. He'd won in terms of internal party politics. He was elected off the back of sincere promises, unlike Keir Starmer. And yet Keir Starmer goes like, well, I fucking hate the left. I don't want to expel them forever, and so I'm going to use every opportunity to be nasty to them. And the public thought, this man's a fucking mentalist.
Yeah. And to be fair, again, I don't wish to glaze Tony Blair at all, because he is an evil war criminal who should be at The Hague and should have been many years ago, along with George W. Bush and Donald Rumsfeld and Dick Cheney and all the cavalcade of Iraq murderers. Anyway, in terms of his internal management of British politics, there were no backbench MPs who were like, I've never met Tony Blair before.
Yeah, so true.
Even he'd have famously he used to have parties where he'd invite all of the backbenchers at conference. And they'd have a weird little kind of MPs get together, and he'd shake hands and say hello to people. That's literally, it's networking. Why the fuck do you think you don't have to do that? You have to do that to get to that position. Keir Starmer, he became King's Counsel, or Queen's Counsel, right? You don't do that without, networking, without meeting the right people, scratching the right backs. And all of a sudden, he seemed to go, well, I'm king now, I don't fucking care. I'm literally an emperor, you can't stop me.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it doesn't work that way. Apparently Blair's majority, 179? Was it as big as that? Okay, so on that basis, you'd need to lose, what, fucking...
80.
Hang on. You need
90.
You'd need to lose 90 and have every single MP on the opposition vote against you, which is unlikely given that you have, some Lib Dems and SNP and all the rest of it.
And Sinn Féin.
And Sinn Féin. The idea... Yeah, I hadn't even factored in Sinn Féin. So you'd need to lose 100, basically. You'd need to lose 100 of your own MPs, which is the most mental number I can imagine. That's ridiculous. At that point, you are literally an emperor. You can do anything, and there's nothing anyone can do to stop it.
And it's just.
So go on.
I'm sorry to. This is the last one. I just want to reiterate again that this was because, and he had the power to do this, And he did do it frequently and ignored them because, again, he ran on being a centrist and Thatcherite for the Labour leadership, and he won.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, it was very simple. He said, I'm going to do these things. The PLP and the voting membership and the trade unions went, yeah, all right, mate, I guess they have won the argument. And then they governed on the basis of that. And yeah, everyone agreed with it. And then this guy just, the electorate and the internal party, nobody agrees with him because all he knows is lying.
Well, he's lied 2 series of times. The media were fine with the first one, but not the second. The first was, of course, making the ethical case for socialism to become Labour leader, all of which was scrapped. And then, secondly, every promise he's ever made as leader of the opposition, and now as Prime Minister, has also been scrapped. He's such a serial liar, he's a double serial liar. He's a compound bullshitter.
Make it easier for infrastructure projects. And again, if you look at, well, is that having an impact on the confidence of business? The FTSE ended on an all-time high in 2025.
No, that's what. Sorry, with that, just to clarify, yeah, the reason I hadn't factored Sinn Féin in is because they don't sit in Parliament, so the numbers are even more like ludicrous because those like 8, 9 MPs, whatever, don't even sit. So once you factor that in, Tony Blair would have had to lose about 110 or something ridiculous. Like, it's mad, you know.
I'm not saying we're there by a long shot, of course I'm not. What I am saying is we are turning the corner as we go into 2026.
But just at the very end.
And this...
Polanski and Sinn Féin having meetings? No. Sinn Féin will never... People keep doing this. Sinn Féin are not going to sit in your fucking Parliament. Their voters literally elect them to never, ever take their seat. The one thing they could do to be deselected and removed, to have a recall ballot against them, would be to take their seat in Westminster. That's the one thing you can't do. Honestly,
the irony is they're probably the best. They're probably the most kind of active MPs, just because they spend all their time in their constituency.
Yeah, they do. Some of them they do have offices in Westminster, and they lobby other members of Parliament to vote the way they'd like them to vote, which is Anyway, but the point being, like, literally, they could kill somebody and not be deselected. In fact, it's been argued that some of their past MPs did kill people. We won't go into it. But basically, there was a point in Northern Irish politics where every single person got there because of violence. That's just a thing that it was. Anyway, the point being, the one thing they could never do is take their seat in Parliament. So it's never going to happen. Just stop with the... It would be nice in a sense, because they're some of the most left-wing people to ever be elected. But they're also never, ever, ever sitting in what they consider to be, and what I would consider to be, a foreign parliament.
Will change the confidence in the economy and the way the economy works.
But just at the very end of 2025, the £31 billion deal that you had hailed with Donald Trump signing it at Chequers, that was put on ice. And a lot of businesses, frankly, we hear from them all the time, are really hacked off with one of the things that you've...
See, again, no one respects the cum jar. No one respects the cum rag, okay? You can sign all the deals you like. The side chick always gets told that they're the one that really matters.
Done. And I just wonder why you think it is that the economy has not grown in the way that you hoped it would. Because your critics can give a long list. They can say jacking up taxes. They can say more regulation, making it more expensive to hire people. Why do you think it's been more sluggish than you hoped? Because we both know that's true.
Yeah, well, let me first push back on the America deal, because there are key components of that deal which are in place and safeguarding jobs right now. So we got the best deal in relation to tariffs on car exports to the US.
Right, but like the Penguins still won. You got a worse deal than the Penguins got.
It's hugely important. And around the world, I think you would acknowledge, most other countries say that they wish they'd been able to get the deal that we got. On your second challenge, I know there are plenty of people who say in relation to tax and the economy, I wouldn't have done that.
It's a bit more than that. They're really hacked off. Even some pubs are banning Labour MPs from being allowed in.
Hear me out, because...
Isn't that just Jeremy Clarkson? Or am I wrong there? I don't know.
No, yeah, there's the chains of pubs have said that they're banning Labour MPs because of increases in business rates.
Not for the genocide, just for the increase in business rates. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, priorities, lads. I mean, I agree with you for very different reasons.
Just pause 1 second. I need to.
Yes, I've gone.
I need to stop recording and then stop my stream and then restart my stream, but only restart it on Twitch because I can't be fucked like making new YouTube streams. I mean, I might just fuck off. I'm sick of the stream going down. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna try one more time, but just on Twitch.
Okay. Well, we'll see how it goes. Yeah.
Sorry, Kev.
No, absolutely no problem. Again, as you pointed out, there's nothing you can do about it. So to judge you harshly for it would be absurd.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. And as a person who, let's say, has not had a clean bill of health when it comes to technological issues on stream, not I've not got a leg to stand on.
No, for sure.
Someone's offering to drive all the way to Nottinghamshire to personally deal with your PC if you want.
I don't think it's the PC. I think it's Streamlabs. Well, to be fair, it is now happening on both YouTube and Twitch. It used to be when the stream went down, it would go down on YouTube, but then come back up on Twitch. But now just goes down on everything. And the Streamlabs will say that it's live. It will say reconnecting and then go back to being live again. But the stream won't then reconnect with where it is streaming to on YouTube and Twitch. I have no idea what's going on. It's really, really strange.
Oh God! Someone just pointed out Keir Starmer's starting to look like the old guy from Up.
Oh God, he is, isn't he?
Oh no! Oh, you've ruined that fucking film. No! Oh, you bastards!
Right,
you fucking crazy bastards! You blew it all up.
Or the easy question on the economy is to sit back on the sidelines and say, I wouldn't have done that. The question that counts, the only question that counts is, if you wouldn't have done that, what would you have done instead? And that's the question nobody...
Not starved hundreds of thousands of children. There you go.
Not tried to impoverish the disabled.
Yep. Yeah.
Not armed a genocide.
Yeah, I'd have basically done the thing... Well, I'd have not done everything you did do. And I'd have done virtually anything else, and it would have been better. Literally, this government, every day, they come up with some new bit of shit that makes me hate them more. And I don't know how they keep doing it. It's remarkable.
He wants to answer. When it came to tax increases, no government wants to increase taxes. Of course they don't.
I do.
But the question is, what was it that...
Yeah, I would. Yeah. Please. Please put taxes up on the highest wealthy bastards. Please.
I would happily think that people like me should pay more tax as well. Obviously, I think rich people should pay a bigger increase in taxation, right? But there's a reason why our fucking public realm is totally fucked on like 38% of GDP in taxation, and the Finnish state is functioning incredibly well and efficiently with 46% of GDP as taxation, right? Like, there's just some basic facts about the amount in which that you need to do taxation more broadly to ensure that you can spend enough money and not have an inflationary crisis and have a functioning public sector. And we are way below that bar.
Are you saying, therefore, that your taxes should go up?
I think people. I think I should be taxed more. Unless it's come from somebody who's frustrated by having to pay her taxes in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, no, Up, because he looks like the guy from Up. I was just doing an Up joke.
True. I get you now.
We put those tax increases in for, and we did it to stabilise the economy, to make sure we could invest in our NHS. Hence, waiting lists are coming down. Satisfaction is going up.
So, whoa. So you did want to increase tax then?
Yeah.
We didn't want to raise tax, but we did it to be able to fund the NHS. Well, though, you're wanting to fund the NHS is something that requires you to raise tax. It doesn't require you, but like it's something that you're justifying you're raising in taxes for. Well, you could just not spend money on the NHS, and then you wouldn't have to raise taxes. So clearly you do. Clearly you do want to raise taxes, and that's fine. Maybe if at literally any point in the last 40 fucking years, anybody had gone and said, maybe taxes should be slightly higher for us to be able to have a functioning public realm, wouldn't be in this stupid position. Rather than, like, trying to narrativize taxation as being something that is unfortunate but necessary, rather than something that is a good thing to ensure a functioning state, is why we're in this fucking mess to begin with.
Yeah. Oh, Mr. Satnav, flex it in chat. I pay so much tax that I get automatic rebates. Now, that's fine, but what I will say is the gift subscription button is there if you've got money to fucking burn. Just saying,
So
bruh.
true.
I mean, it feels like you should be able to write it off as a charitable contribution because I'm so fucking poor. But unfortunately, I'm not a registered charity.
Did you also just come on my feed? Did you see that there was a poll that said that Corbyn is more favoured to be Chancellor than Rachel Reeves?
Corbyn? The man,
Yeah.
I mean, the man with no economic, like, he's not an economist. What sense does that even
like
make?
John McDonnell is, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Maybe it's just one of those things where it's like, the bubonic plague has a preferable popularity rate than the Prime Minister or whatever. It's one of those things. Like, 2% of people think that he should be Chancellor, but 0% of people think that Rachel Reeves should be Chancellor.
I mean,
I don't know.
Like Zach Polanski has more approval on this than loads of people. Has more approval on this than George Osborne, Rishi Sunak, Jeremy Hunt, the same as Richard Tice. Although, fucking hilariously, the 3 people who have the best rating on being a Chancellor instead of Rachel Reeves are Zia Yusuf, Gordon Brown, and Mel Stride.
Oh, that's bad. But speaking of Zach Polanski, didn't you go on a podcast?
I did go on his own podcast.
I just
wanted to use the button, did you?
I just wanted to use. I downloaded it and fucking put it into my Stream Deck, so I'm getting worth out of that tiny amount of effort.
Our infrastructure to make sure we could roll out childcare, for example, and to bear down on child poverty, all of which will benefit the economy in the long run. But the easy thing is to sit back and say, I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have done that. I get that.
Right, but the thing is, you're the government. You don't get to just say, well, what's your plan then? Well, if I had a plan, I might run for government. You did run a plan. You did run for government. Presumably you did have a plan. The thing you have enacted has been shit. That's it. I mean, take that on responsibility. Don't be like, well, I didn't see that you had a better plan. Actually, I think I do have a better plan. If you'd listened to anyone with similar politics, you might also have fucking done so. But no.
The irony, of course, being he never had a plan, and they spent, as Maurice Glassman admitted, they spent 5 years purging the left, expecting them to have another 5 years in opposition that they didn't get.
Yeah, very true. Thank you, Mr. Satnavatron, which I presume is Mr. Satnav, but just on a different platform, with 5 gifted memberships on the YouTube. Much love to you. Again, do not write that off. For legal reasons, don't write that off as a charitable contribution. Although, you know, with your taxes, you get to write off a new PC as a business expense.
True.
That's literally a thing you can do.
That's true, I could do that.
Yeah.
That's an easy sideline thing to do. The question in government is, if you're not going to do that, what would you have done instead? And that's the question nobody wants to answer.
But the question now is also, how do you address the consequences? Yeah. And again, let's just ask again, because I know that people really care about this. So many people watching this, one of the questions that comes into their head again and again, what job's my kid going to get? Yeah. What job's my grandchild going to get? Youth unemployment is going up. Student debt is sky high. Rents are sky high. If you were under 30, under 40 in this country, there's a lot of evidence that says they're looking at any of the mainstream parties and the Labour Party. They're going to the Greens. They're even going to Reform. Why would a young person look at your government and think, you know what, they've got my back?
They're not going to Reform.
Mostly not. But the point being, and I think it's a very good question, that caveat aside, of if they're under 40, why would they ever vote for you? What have you done that makes them think like you've got their back at all?
Yeah, 100%. I don't hear her going, oh, well, they're kind of suffering under huge amounts of student debt. Wow, incredible. If only we had somebody campaigning to be Prime Minister who said that he would get rid of tuition fees, make university free again.
Like what he had, with a massive fucking bursary as well on top. Oh, wow.
Yeah, about that.
Because we're laser focused on...
Laser focused! The time for slogans is gone! The laser focused has reappeared! Fuck me! Unbelievable. This guy is just on a different plane of existence to the rest of humanity. The time for slogans is gone, but we need laser focus on being a grown-up and adults in the room to have pathways towards targets and goals and mission statements. Fucking hell.
And giving them the future that they deserve. And we've done a number of important changes in my view. The first is to
honestly,
take
we should have
down
done the bingo.
target
We should have done
that
bingo
50%
today.
of young people should go to university and replace it with a target, which is 2/3 should either go to university or have a gold standard apprenticeships. Because
Well, gold standard isn't a thing. You can put you can put another word, super duper fantastic big chungus apprenticeship, right? It doesn't mean anything. It's just a fucking apprenticeship, which is fine. You shouldn't be ashamed of that. You don't need to put a fancy new fucking adjective before it. The point being, what you're actually setting up here is we allowed too many poor kids to go to university. Fuck them. But don't worry, rich parents. Your kids can still go to university, and the plebs can go and do plumbing.
I mean, perfectly a good thing to do. Plumbing is a very respectable profession. That it's important cog in the functioning society, right?
fucking
no motherfucker from the political class is telling their kids to be a plumber.
Yeah, Tarquin and Delilah are not going to be plumbers.
No, exactly.
They're going to do PPE at Uxbridge and then end up like this fucking prick somewhere in the halls of power. It's disgusting.
Because I really want to push apprenticeships. I have nothing against the 50% target for those going to university. It worked well for a number of young people. But we don't value apprenticeships enough, in my view. We need to make sure they're as highly regarded, highly weighed. An example of that would be we've put investment into Wilver, into Anglesey, the small modular reactor there, and an AI growth zone alongside it. I went up to talk to
an AI growth zone.
Oh my god, it's so miserable, isn't it? Again, just more cucked out to billionaires. I think that's like putting money into training people up to be nuclear engineers through apprenticeships in Anglesey is great. I'm really glad to hear about it. But the thing is, unless you're raising Eton to the ground at the same time, this will just leads to a big, retrenching the class divisions that kind of expelled from the country in terms of how young people view society because of the number of people that went to university from poor backgrounds.
True, and as someone points out, a small modular reactor employs about 500 people, which is 500 more than there were going to be. But if when asked what have you done, you say 500 jobs. And a joke AI growth zone, which frankly I'd rather have a fucking cancer growth zone, in all honesty.
Did you see Ed Miliband's TikTok he did about the SMR investments?
No, I did not. I'm sure it was cheesy as fuck. Yeah.
It was very cheesy. He was speaking very quietly and closely into a microphone and then talk about the SMRs. And then someone from behind shouts, Ed, it's supposed to be an SMR video, not an ASMR video. Which I thought was quite clever.
That is quite good. Okay, that's fine. That shows, because ASMR has not been like a well-known phrase for that long. So, like, I wouldn't imagine that, who's a former energy secretary? Was Nigel Lamont, maybe? I don't know. Norman Lamont, even. I dare say he would not have done that kind of video. So that's fine. Okay, fine.
Like he did another video where he was just like talking about green energy, and he was just like an "Is it cake?" video, Like
is it cake? No, it's renewable energy.
Well, no, what he did is he actually cuts open a cake and go, yes, it is cake, because businesses in this country have access to renewable energy grants, just like Mr. Kipling, who makes exceedingly good cakes made by exceedingly good clean energy, which I thought was a really good video.
Okay, that's cool. I would argue if I were a rival cake maker, that is the government giving free advertising to a rival. but yeah, fair enough, yeah.
Sixth form college, the technical college, further education college up there. The day we made that announcement, these were 16 to 19-year-olds. And I think when we turned up, they rather wondered what we were there to do, as 16 to 19-year-olds do. But when they began to appreciate that the future...
Oh, yeah, because 16 to 19-year-olds are fucking idiots who don't know the understanding of a fucking photo opportunity. It's just contemptuous. Oh, children are stupid. They wouldn't know why the Prime Minister would turn up at a college. To be fucking photoshopped, poorly hammering a nail into a piece of wood.
And these are the people that he thinks should be given the vote.
Yeah.
The people who he thinks should be given the vote, i.e. children, he thinks are too stupid to understand why he's going to visit them. When in reality, actually, they are very perceptive. And again, the kind of 16 and 17-year-olds who were surveyed who think they would vote are politically tuned in and aren't fucking idiots.
And just generally speaking, younger generations are more image savvy. They take selfies a lot of the time. They understand the importance of an image. So the photo opportunity, good lighting, etc., is a thing they understand intrinsically. The idea that you're going there and like, oh, maybe he's going to do a party trick. Maybe he's going to come dressed as a magician and pull a rabbit out of a hat. No, you go in there to be photographed by media people and then to announce some new policy thing that isn't going to happen.
I mean, this is my favourite, because I mean, this was literally where George Bush was when he was told about the news of 9/11.
Yeah, reading My Pet Goat. Yes, famously. And just sat there. Again, because he was very much, I suppose, he was the starmer to, what was his fucking name? Cheney's McSweeney type deal. So, not knowing what to do, he was told, Mr. President, a second plane has gone into the tower. You know the meme. But that actually did happen, right? And he just sat there for another, 12 minutes, reading My Pet Goat with a group of, 7-year-olds, or whatever the fuck it was, as his country was literally being fucking attacked with, a plane. There were still planes in the air over Maryland that they thought might be heading for the White House or the Pentagon, and he was just sat there reading a fucking book with some children.
Although it would be very, very funny if that plane had been successful and just happened to be the time when George Bush nowhere near the White House.
Oh, gutted. Look, I mean, to be fair, you're going to be in heaven with your 72 virgins, but you're going to be like, bastard, he wasn't even home. Fuck!
Literally, a real Four Lions moment. What my rubber dingy rapids, bro? I thought I was gonna kill George Bush.
I'm gonna fly in.
Go proper into White House, like in proper 24 style, innit?
Yeah, I'm gonna fly into the White House full of bushes and slags.
They had seen for themselves, which in North Wales they thought would be to have to leave the place where they were brought up, the place they love, because it would be the only way to get a job.
What is he, a fucking martyr or a cheese hamburger? That's another American suicide bomber reference.
They appreciated, because of the action we were taking, they would have a good, well-paid, secure job there. You could see their faces change.
There are a lot of people in your party, even some people in your own cabinet, who quite openly suggest that actually you should do something much more radical to help the economy, is that it should go pursue a customs union with the EU. And you've ruled that out many times. Do you still rule it out? Because it feels like your government's been warming up to that idea a bit.
Well, I've always been clear that we need a closer relationship with the EU. That is in our national interest.
And there goes the 7 votes he's been trying to chase with being really, really racist and awful and right-wing. Well done. Well done. The 7 people in Essex that were going to vote reform but were thinking, oh, I do like the Rivers of Blood speech thing. That's nice. They're gone. So you went far right for literally no reason. Brilliant. Honestly, laser focused chat. W's in chat. Fantastic. Fucking cunt. Oh, sorry. This is just catharsis for me at this point. I'm just shouting at the fucking screen.
Hey,
and we've taken important steps towards that with the EU-UK reset. And it is a reset. Relations between the UK...
Just like your government has every fortnight. Yeah, we know. Yeah.
UK and the EU are in the best position they've been for 10 years. And that has meant we've already taken steps.
But what's next?
We've already taken steps on food and agriculture to align with the single market. That's the sovereign decision that we have taken. I think we should get closer. And if it's in our national interest, to have even closer alignment with the single market, then we should consider that. We should go that far. We're already aligning on energy, reconnecting to energy in Europe, on emissions, but I think the single market, further alignment, as I say, if it's in our interest to do so, we should take that step.
So what do you mean by that? So countries like Switzerland and Norway have access to the single market, which is one of the biggest economic trading zones in the world.
A very important one.
But leaving the single market was one of the cornerstones of leaving the EU. So what exactly do you
No, it
mean
wasn't.
by being closer
No,
to
no,
the
no,
single
no, 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 it wasn't. That wasn't on the fucking ballot paper. I know, because I went in there and read it. I voted. It wasn't in there. It was just leaving the European Union. It had nothing to do with the single market or joining the EEA or fucking whether we were going to stay a part of Euratom or the fucking the university exchange scheme or anything. Erasmus, exactly. Yeah, it had nothing to do with any of that. It was just, do you wish to remain in the European Union or not? That's it. So it wasn't a cornerstone of anything. Shut the fuck up.
And it would also be especially so, given that one of the people campaigning on it said, oh, well, let's do a Norway-style deal. No one's saying leave the single market, let's go full Norway. And if only that man had any power politically at any point to maybe get us closer to that kind of deal that he said that he wanted before then he may be able to act on that in the future. But unfortunately, someone like that is in no chance of becoming a prime minister anytime soon, who would be able to potentially undo some of the damage.
Oh, no, well, exactly. Thankfully, Nigel Farage isn't going to be Prime Minister anytime soon and be able to do that.
No, indeed so. Nigel Farage has no political power at all, nowhere close to being politically powerful to be able to enact his Norway-style deal for Brexit that he campaigned for pre-referendum.
Yeah.
Market, because anyone else who has access has to follow their rules, and they also have to allow freedom of movement, where an unlimited number of EU citizens could come once again and live in this country. So what exactly do you mean?
So what I mean by that is, if you look at the deal we've already done with the EU, on food and agriculture, we're aligning our rules so that we can access the single market. So that's a sovereign decision that we've made as a government, that it's in our interest to do so. What I'm saying is, there are other areas where we should consider whether it's in our interest to do the same and align with the single market. Now, that needs to be considered on a sort of issue by issue, sector by sector.
That's it, and this is why no one believes all this flag shagging rhetoric stuff that they do, because they know that naturally, in his heart, he and Lammy and fucking what's her name, former Home Secretary, bitch, Ed Balls' his missus. Anyway, Yvette Cooper. That's the thing. When they do the very modern and an understandable thing of not taking their husband's surname, I forget their name because that's just you're programmed. It's patriarchy. It happens. Anyway, so Yvette Cooper and all those people are very pro-EU. They're not nationalists in any respect whatsoever. So saying I have 20 different types of bunting in my fucking house, no one believes you. You can pathetically wave your little flags at conference. Not a single person buys into this because they understand that this is you, Keir Starmer. You want to be as close to Europe as possible. You also understand you have to be in the jar for America, as previously explained, but you also want to be close to Europe. That's your natural thing. You're very pro-EU. We know that.
Yeah, I mean, hence why he campaigned to be the leader of the Labour Party on returning to freedom of movement.
Yeah. No one believes the nonsense, you know?
Oh, he literally... to be fair, he also collapsed the Brexit compromise agreement in the background, but that was on whether that was because he wanted to ensure that we had the opportunity to cancel Brexit, or he wanted to destroy Jeremy Corbyn. I don't know. Could have been both.
From his perspective, win-win. Either we get to rejoin the European Union, which he or stay in the European Union, which he likes, or Jeremy Corbyn goes, which he likes. So, for his perspective, it was that. But yeah, ironically, his laser-focused policy of fucking up a good Brexit deal led to the hardest Brexit deal imaginable, and a catastrophe for the country. Thanks, Keir! You're such a brilliant politician. So perceptive. He can see the future.
What an absolutely incredible statesperson he is.
Indeed.
But we've already done it with food and agriculture, and that will be implemented this year. That'll be another turning the corner moment as we get closer.
Oh, turning the corner! Okay. New one to add to the fucking bingo card. Turning the corner. That's the new one. No time for slogans. We've turned the corner, so there's no more slogans after we've turned the corner, turn the corner, turn the corner.
We're laser focused on turning the corner. Let me be clear. I am laser focused on turning the corner.
We've got 5 missions to turn the corner. Okay?
If you make the judgment that, you know what, it's best for business to align in a different industry, whether that was in, car manufacturer or whatever, what would you be willing to give up and what would you be willing to pay?
Well, we take a sovereign decision whether we align or not.
He turns the corner so much he's like NASCAR. True.
And where it's in our interest to do so, that's a sovereign decision.
But you know that Brussels drives a hard bargain. They're not going to give you anything for free.
Well, no, I accept that. But we've made good progress already. I think it's in our national interest to go further. What I would say about the customs union is that argued for a customs union for many years with the EU. But a lot of water has now gone under the bridge. I do understand why people are saying...
Actually, he's not like NASCAR because that would be turning left. True.
True. Thing is, he's like... He's out here saying, well, I've always campaigned for a customs union. There was a customs union compromise deal on the table in the talks with Theresa May when you were Jeremy Corbyn's Brexit shadow secretary.
Yep.
In 2017. There were talks in 2018 in the background to try and find a compromise agreement with which you could have a customs union agreement as a compromise, because clearly this was split down the middle. A compromise agreement had to be found, right?
Yeah.
And you, in your infinite wisdom, tanked those negotiations because you wanted to be able to cancel Brexit. You do not care about a customs union agreement. You have given us the hardest Brexit in search of the destruction of Jeremy Corbyn as the Labour leadership, and on searching of cancelling Brexit against the democratic will of the British people.
Yeah,
what
exactly,
a fucking charlatan.
Exactly, yeah. That's the thing. Back when the Conservative Party had anti-Brexit MPs, because remember, the Conservative Party's official position, or the Conservative government's official position, was that we should remain in the EU, right? So lots of the people prior to that, at the time of the negotiation, were Tories who were prepared to vote against their own government for this softer agreement, along with the Lib Dems and Labour and the Cock Group, who was still a thing back at the time, and so on. And they could have got a deal over the line. And this fucking idiot, this laser-focused dweeb, decided, nah, fuck that noise. Either we cancel Brexit, in which case fuck democracy, or we cancel Jeremy Corbyn, in which case fuck Labour democracy.
And fuck the country, because I remember we had a man who said that he was happy for the parties to pile high, become Prime Minister.
Yep.
Although, in a way, I'm kind of glad we lost the 2019 election. Imagine fucking Jeremy Corbyn as Prime Minister during the pandemic. It would have been a fucking coup.
Probably, but like...
Imagine Jeremy Corbyn trying to impose lockdown. Literally, people would like act that there was like a fucking communist government.
True. But maybe you'd have gone communist. And just gone, fuck it, send the tanks out into the street.
Perfect excuse.
Yeah. Oh, what's that? It's not called Parliament Square anymore. It's being renamed Tiananmen Square.
London renamed Corbyn-grad. Let's go.
Fuck yes.
Better to go to the customs union. I actually think that now we've done deals with the US, which are in our national interest. Now we've done deals with India, which are in our national interest.
Jesus Christ, he's turning the phrase "in our national interest" into a slogan as well now. Jesus Christ. Okay, yeah, we get it. Also, like, you've traded an infinite number of European migrants for an infinite number of Indian migrants instead. Okay.
Which, I'm fine with that. That's what voters wanted.
Exactly, yeah, I don't mind that. Just send as many Indians as you like, really. I mean, not literally all, because there's nearly 2 billion, that wouldn't really work. But the
biggest country in the world.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. We are a very small island, let's remember. But yeah, send loads of Indians. I don't care. They do really good stuff. They're educated. Often the ones that come are very rich as well. They become doctors and lawyers and all kinds of awesome things. Good for them. Awesome.
Yeah.
But the point being is that the people who voted for Brexit did not vote for more brown people.
No,
they really didn't. That was not the vibe I got. Boris Johnson did not have more brown people on the side of a fucking bus. Although that would have been hilarious if he did, but he didn't.
We are better looking to the single market rather than the customs union for our further alignment, and it wouldn't be in our interest now to give up.
Would you be willing to revisit freedom of movement, allowing EU citizens with no limit to come to the UK again?
No, but we are looking at a youth mobility scheme which will be for young people to travel, to work, to enjoy themselves in different European countries, to have that experience, both our young people going to Europe, Europeans coming here. We've committed to that in principle. That is a good thing. I do think young people should have that opportunity. The question now will be, what are the numbers, what are the ages, what's the duration of the scheme?
And it's going to cost £570 million.
Well, no, we're in the negotiations with the EU at the moment as to what that looks like. But have we committed in principle to young people having a limited period of time when they can travel and work and experience other European countries? Yes, we have.
Again, bye-bye the 3 voters in Hull that you might have swayed from the Reform Party. What was the point? Well, you literally almost quoted word for word Enoch fucking Powell. For what? For what end? Because your argument about trying to win over reform voters is destroyed in an instant.
Yep.
Fucking hell. Again, just pick a lane. Pick a
especially
lane. Do you want to go for this group of people or the other group of people? They are mutually incompatible. They are exclusive to one another.
It's so true. And the thing as well is that like the one thing that the Labour strategy is, right, is that they want to reconfigure their electorate away from, you know, metropolitan people in cities, young people, towards older, more traditionalist, kind of lefty on the economy but reactionary on social policy kind of stuff, right? And the one thing that kind of unites that group of people with the kind of red wall constituency is the belief that democracy doesn't work for them anymore.
Yeah.
And for you to go, we are going to just totally rejoin all of these things in Europe, despite the fact that we voted to leave the European Union with no democratic mandate with which to do so. Like, they all believe democracy isn't working in their favour. You are literally giving them every reason to never vote for you ever again.
At the same time that he's literally cancelling council elections for a second year running.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this country has always had a democratic deficit of pretty sizable proportions. At the moment, it is a gaping chasm. It's ridiculous. The idea that we're even really a democracy at this point is questionable.
I think that's a good thing. That is not the return to freedom of movement. We're not going back to freedom of movement. But I personally think that young people having that opportunity is a very good thing.
Many people listening to you saying we need to be closer to the EU.
Yeah.
For a lot of people who voted to leave the EU, who voted for Brexit, many of whom then voted for you in 2024, they're going to think, hang on a minute.
I'm not sure that's
you're betraying the very
true.
things that you voted for.
I'm not sure that's true. I don't think many Brexit voters did vote for him.
No.
It must be borne in mind he didn't get a very sizable chunk of the electorate, considering his majority. It's one of the most efficient majorities ever won, because again, razor thin margins in hundreds of seats, right, or in dozens of seats anyway, which made the difference ultimately. He didn't. I don't think he did win over many Brexit voters, to be honest.
He won over liberal Tories, basically.
Yeah, the kind of anti-Brexit Tories that used to exist in the Tory party. But now the Tory party became UKIP, and UKIP became the Brexit party, because everyone's moved further right.
Yeah, who's the fucking guy who's not married to Polly Mackenzie? Literally describes himself as a neoliberal centrist dad on Twitter. Nick Tyrone. He won over the
Nick Tyrone,
Tyrones of this world, yeah?
Yeah, exactly, yeah, FBPE people, yeah.
Yeah.
Basically.
For, and you misled them, because now what you're suggesting again
Whoa.
political judgment to
Keir Starmer misled somebody. Are you trying to imply, Laura, that he might be a proven morally corrupt serial liar?
Unbelievable. Are you besmirching the great name of the JOB? How dare you!
creep back more closely to the EU. That's what this is, isn't it?
No, in our manifesto we're very clear about this. We said that we wouldn't rejoin the EU.
Sorry, I was taken aback for a second. Someone in my chat called Marshal Georgy Zhukov, and I was just like, okay, you know, he invaded and took Berlin, and he's invaded and took my chat as well. Fair enough.
So true.
Fair play.
But we would seek a closer relationship with the EU. That is exactly
but you're talking about
what we're
getting
doing.
closer to the single market.
Exactly what we're doing in accordance with our manifesto. And that's
Again,
the right
it's
thing
just
to do.
they
We're
can't
not
get
trying
away
to
with
reverse
this.
Yeah.
The referendum. One of the reasons we've been able to reset...
Continually saying, oh, well, it was not against our manifesto. Like, yeah, because your manifesto was basically imprinted in bollocks vision.
Yeah.
And so much so that they tried to word everything with as many get-out clauses as possible. It wasn't a mandate to govern. In fact, it was quite frankly the opposite. It was a mandate of, some specific things they won't do, and everything else is up to interpretation.
Yeah. Well, literally, they might as well have just written, vote for us. And then gone, see, we didn't promise anything, so we didn't break any promises. Huzzah!
Exactly. Or they could literally have campaigned on the slogan "adults in the room," because that's basically their only mandate for government. We will be the adults. That's it. What's that constitute denote? It'll be very adult about it.
Sure. Sorry, I was playing the Soviet national anthem for Zhukov. Apologies.
With the EU is because both we and the EU have decided we're not just looking back and picking over the bones of Brexit, we're now looking forward on this. But what I would say is that what is becoming increasingly apparent is the falsehoods that were peddled by Nigel Farage and others at the time of the Brexit referendum. That promise that all you had to do was leave the EU and immigration would go down. Then we had the Boris wave where it quadrupled. All you had to do was leave the EU and you'd have £350 million a week for your NHS. Well, it hasn't materialised. All you'd have to do is leave the EU and all your red tape would be gone. Tell that to any business that's trying to trade with the EU. So our manifesto promise.
And ironically, he's gone both ways with those two policies, because he did sort of bring about extra money for the NHS, and he did also bring about lots more red tape for businesses. So, like, very mixed bag on this one. You're not doing Boris's work here at all.
Was not to reopen this, not to seek to rejoin the EU, but to have a closer relationship. That is in our national interest, and that is what we're pursuing. And because of the way that we're conducting this, which is not shouting and screaming and the politics of melodrama, but just quietly, seriously... Serious adults in the room!
The sensibles! He's super sensible, chat.
Oh, he's never adulted in the room more. It's beautiful to see. Technocratic, techno-motherfucking-cratic. Let's go!
Getting on.
And can people tell me, is that what people want from government? Just boring technocracy? Or do they actually vote for change? They literally voted for your policy of change!
Because they just live in a totally different era. Because, boring technocracy was what the world wanted in 2003. It's not what people want in 2026.
Yeah, exactly. I'm so glad Baldrick told us he was going to do change. Thanks, Baldrick.
Vote for Labour, vote change.
That honestly, when senility robs me of every memory, the last thing I will remember is Tony fucking Robinson dancing down the street with his passport like a cunt.
With the diplomacy, we have got a much better relationship with the EU, much better trading relations, much better understanding when it comes to defence and security.
You sound relaxed about raising this issue again when it's been a very toxic issue in British politics for a long time. But you mentioned their immigration, and for your leadership to, get yourself together, get yourself out of the doldrums in the polls, which have been very serious over the last 18 months. You need people to have faith in you, don't you?
Yes, of course.
And you promised people that you would smash the gangs.
She did not, in fact, have a cunning plan. Thank you, chat. Ironically, boom. That's another Baldrick bit. Thank you.
Now, the numbers of small boat crossings actually has started going up again. The number of people being housed in asylum hotels, which you condemn.
No, the rubber-sniffing dogs didn't work. Oh, I was sure they were going to bring down the number of fucking boats. Again, you've besmirched Jobu, now you're besmirching our canine saviours. Fucking hell. There's nothing sacred, Laura.
And is a terrible idea for everybody concerned, for those asylum seekers and the communities involved. The numbers have been going up again. You're not remotely succeeding in your mission to smash the gang, are you? And even you say asylum hotels where your promise is to end them by close them by the end of the Parliament. That's 2029. It's another 3 years.
Well, on asylum hotels, at their height there were 400 hotels, and now there are about 197.
But
now some of that was before we came into power.
Yeah, don't worry though. The people are more horribly crammed into half the number of hotels, so they're suffering twice as much. Love us, racists.
But I think it is important with the hotels to just remind ourselves what the sole cause of the hotels was. The last government
Thank you,
didn't
Fuzzmoz.
process asylum claims. This was an absurd policy. So you had tens of thousands of people that had made their way to Britain, to our country, and they were not being processed. Now, the net result of that is, if they were genuine refugees, they couldn't be advanced. If they had no right to be here, they couldn't be returned. So you had this growing pool of people who had to be accommodated.
And
it is the most absurd policy that could ever have been conceived. Now, the only way in the long run to reduce this is to whack through those...
Okay, right. So you've said what you don't want to do, but what's your plan for what you want to do? You see how annoying that is? Because your plan for what to do is shit and also isn't working.
Process those claims and make sure that we make the determination.
No, we haven't even talked about Venezuela yet.
I'm really pleased.
Or should I say, me and No Justice and I have talked about it, but these dickheads still haven't got onto it halfway through.
50,000 since we've been in office.
And
These numbers are record numbers for the best part of a decade, and I'm really pleased about that, but there's no alternative. I have said I want to end asylum hotels by the end of this Parliament.
But
Well, that's what our manifesto
3
commitment
years.
was. No, I know, and therefore I've said to the system, to the relevant departments, I want to see that brought forward.
Or
I want to
when?
shorten that.
To
well, as soon as possible, but no longer the end of Parliament. Bring it forward. I want us to close hotels. I think over coming months you'll see evidence of that, because the frustration of taxpayers that because of a mess left by the last government, we've got tens of thousands of people who are in limbo. They're the taxpayers paying for their accommodation because the last government wouldn't process their claims.
But that's
not good enough.
But that's interesting.
And we need to
Again, it's just so funny to me.
On
Hang on one
the
second.
closure of.
It's just so funny to me. He'll just go, "Oh, the terrible thing is that the government weren't processing the claims." No one, look, the people you're trying to appeal to don't want the claims process. They want these people sent back to their countries of origin, sent to Rwanda, or drowned in the Channel.
Yeah.
Right? The fact that you're hearing those claims, noble and honourable as it is to do so, as per the Refugee Convention, is not of any interest to the people that you're trying to prostrate our government for.
Yeah.
Of asylum hotels
This year?
where it was, well, I don't want to set a date, Laura, until we're absolutely sure that we can meet that date. What I do want to say is I'm determined we'll close them, and I have pushed the departments to say I want to see that timeline brought forward. I want to see this happening more quickly, and as we turn a corner into 2026, you'll see evidence of that.
While the
Turn the
management
corner.
of all of these people has proved incredibly difficult for the government, the rhetoric and the future proposals about whether people have a right to be here has certainly boiled up under your new Home Secretary. Your government might deport the children of refugees who've been born in this country, who've known no other home. You know there are people in your party and on the left.
Which is a far right policy. Be under no illusion. This is not like a reaction to it. No, this is boilerplate like BNP stuff. This is what the BNP was suggesting 20 years ago.
Yep.
Nick Griffin was literally saying these things, and now the Prime Minister is, or the Home Secretary is saying these things.
Left of politics.
Who, ironically, is the children of migrants.
You're very uncomfortable about this. Is that really the kind of actions of a Labour government led by a former human rights lawyer? I'm not sure that Keir Starmer of 10 years ago would have thought deporting the children of refugees who know no other home would be acceptable.
We're not talking about deporting children of refugees. We're talking about children of peoples whose claims have failed. That's a very different.
Oh,
proposition.
that's okay then. Oh, that's fine. The fact that they were born here is irrelevant then. Now, fuck them.
Well, the thing is, it is true that I think that if they're born here, they should be able to stay here. And the problem, of course, is that if you don't actually bother putting money into processing the claims, more children will be born. If everyone comes here and they hear their claim in, like, have their claim heard in, like, you know, a month and a half or whatever, no one would be getting pregnant and having children in the time in which that they were in the United Kingdom, right? But people are spending 2-3 years on a waiting list, and a child is growing up for the first 3 years of their life in the United Kingdom, you know?
Yeah.
I wouldn't really
Literally-
care if a failed asylum seeker was deported with their child, if their child was born and I was like 2 months later. No one would really care. But these are people who've actually got a life now.
Yeah, exactly. Like, as long as you get their appeal, so get their claim sorted in 9 months, usually, then there's no like, oh, they're going to come here and get pregnant just so they can stay. No, no, pregnant women are not usually the people who are going on tiny little rafts across the fucking channel.
Oh yeah, exactly. Like we keep being told it's all full of men, it's all full of men, but they're also going to be there getting pregnant. I'm like, well, suddenly the right wing believes men can get pregnant now. Oh well, there you go.
Ironically, their racism has led them into transpositivity.
Let's go.
Countries become safe, you have said you would send them back to their home countries.
One of the changes we want to make is to be able to look again at whether a country is safe, because this does change over time. You can see that in places like Syria and other countries.
Where we've just accepted that Al-Qaeda are now safe as a government. You are amazing. Literally, you can beat Al-Qaeda and be safe, or you could spray paint a fucking plane and be forced onto hunger strike and denied medical fucking attention. Oh my, this government are on a different level. Honestly, it is. It's the most totalitarian bullshit this any British government I think has done. Let's say since the turn of the 20th century.
It is crazy. And again, the fact that Hayat Tahrir al-Shams are now viewed upon more favourably by our government than fucking Palestine action is crazy.
They're viewed more positively than fucking the climate change people. They're just stop oil. Just stop oil people for planning to cause a nuisance are in fucking jail. Al Qaeda and have now got a fucking embassy in London.
But just stepping up again, the refugee conventions, human rights conventions, which are really important and we will adhere to, were crafted and put into place on the basis of a model of asylum seeking that was basically an individual would flee persecution, put their hand up in the first safe country and say, please help. It's a principle we will always uphold in this country. We will always support.
This is such a dumb cop-out, because like we're not near any wars. So we can say, oh no, you should stay in the country that first day. Okay, so what, fucking Lebanon has to take 100 million people? What are you talking about? How the fuck is this possibly going to work? You need to share the load a little bit.
Well,
Jesus
I'm just hoping that all of the Gazans can swim to Cyprus, and then they can occupy RAF Akrotiri.
Fuck yeah, and then they can do not drone strikes, but they can do drone pilot flights over London. So that whichever foreign government wants to kidnap this wanker have an easier time of it. That's a joke. That's a joke, MI5. I'm not trying to encourage the kidnapping of the Prime Minister.
Those fleeing persecution. It's a really fundamental principle.
Especially as what's the fucking point? He isn't going to be Prime Minister very much longer. It's sacking someone who's already put their notice in. Who cares?
But the model, Laura, has changed. Now there are many more examples of people getting to a set of safe countries.
No, Madcat, that's why I was saying. Madcat points out, quite rightly, that Lebanon has the largest refugee per capita of any country on earth, right? Which is literally why I mentioned Lebanon. Because Lebanon is one of those safe countries which is surrounded by, war on all fucking sides and has to take in millions of people. It makes up it was ridiculous, like something like 2/3 of its population or something is refugee. Because they've just taken in fucking loads of people from everywhere. That's not fair. It's not fair that Lebanon is being put on in that way. Why not send some of those people around the place?
Have you not? How dare you consider the plight of the state of Lebanon currently going into economic collapse and being moved upon to taking all the refugees, it seems, entirely within the Middle East? Have you considered the real people that are hard done by are the people in Epping?
Oh no, Epping have got 200
shouting outside hotels.
They've got 200 people crammed into the worst conditions possible, suffering like fuck. Probably wish they'd never come here in the first place. And then fucking cooking meals on the floor, living in unsanitary conditions. And then you've got fucking Nazis outside pretending to be concerned citizens screaming racial abuse. And you never know, the merest spark somewhere might start off another pogrom against you.
1,000-year Treatlerreich. That's what it is, isn't it? It's Treatlerism. Literally, I usually used to hate people who go, you can't complain, people on the other side of the world have it worse. And I'm just like, yeah, all those people who used to say that are now the ones going, we've got some refugees in our community. And I'm like, yeah, imagine being in Turkey. Imagine being in Eastern Turkey for 5 minutes.
Yeah. Or Lebanon, or basically anywhere. We take in such a small number and such a small percentage of per capita, or small number per capita. We get it's ridiculous. It's literally, Bulgaria's been putting up fucking barbed wire fence across its entire eastern border to stop people coming in. Not eastern border, southern border with Turkey, sorry. To stop people coming in because they're so desperate to stop it. Now, that could be done. It's partly for racist reasons, but the point being is that a lot of other countries have it a lot fucking worse.
Again, if you were in the UK and your singular issue is the very, very tiny minority of asylum seekers that we take in, A, you need to get some real problems, and B, what can possibly motivate you other than racism? honestly, what else could motivate you?
Yeah, no, it's a good question.
Europe, say, and deciding which of those safe countries do I now want to settle in, do I choose to settle in? That's a very different proposition, and we need to look at our rules because...
I love it when they go, France is a safe country. I'm sorry, we all saw the Zach Polanski. Ooh, podcast. I'm done playing the fucking button. We saw the Zach Polanski Christmas message. Literally, the British government are paying the French government to force French police to steal firewood from migrants in tents in the middle of winter. France is not a safe country.
And Keir Starmer is evil?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
It is more, it is thought to be easier to work in our labour market than other countries. We need to fix that. That's why we've taken much more enforcement action.
Oh, sorry. For a second there, I thought he was going to say that's why we've made it more difficult to employ people. No, we did the income. We did the tax on employers to specifically stop them from hiring brown people.
Remember, I think it's a really important point to make out here as well. There's actually a serious point to make, which is that there is the best defence against your employer undercutting you by employing somebody illegally rather than through the proper channels. It's joining a trade union.
Join a fucking trade union, yes.
Yeah, it's not digital ID. It's not punishing all of the genuine refugees in case some of them work illegally by just letting them work anyway and letting them become a member of a trade union. No. The actual way that you prevent this is by being a member of a trade union. Because if at any point they try and undercut you by employing somebody illegally, away from the eyes of the state, you go on fucking strike.
Yep. Literally. 100%. Join a fucking union. Ideally one not affiliated to the Labour Party.
True.
That we have available.
Although remember, even if you do have to join one that's affiliated with the union, with the Labour Party, you can deny your dues being paid to the Labour Party.
Yes.
And you should.
How long you need to wait before you're granted status, the accommodation that you're put in. One of the things that I think drives people to frustration is knowing that if you're an asylum seeker and you need accommodation, you're put in accommodation at the taxpayer's expense, and your own assets, your own income are not taken into account. Whereas if you weren't an asylum seeker, you were born here and you wanted accommodation, your assets and your income would be taken into account. Most people would say, that's not fair.
You're a fucking idiot, Keir. It is literally the Labour Party that wrote it into law that asylum seekers can't work and support themselves.
Yep.
And you say, well, your income. What income? Asylum seekers aren't working, they don't have income. And by assets, he means jewellery that he wants to fucking confiscate from people. And the point here is, whilst I agree it would be unfair if these situations were the same and there wasn't kind of a basis of a normal functioning member of society with citizenship and a refugee fleeing war, but regardless, even if they were the same, this is an argument to not have to put people's assets into account when you are looking at them for social housing, for example. It may be the poor in the UK shouldn't be able to sell, or shouldn't be forced to sell their family heirlooms to afford to fucking function with a roof over their head, right? This should be an argument for raising the standards for everybody, not making sure that everyone is treated as miserably as asylum seekers. But of course, as Tony Benn rightfully pointed out to everybody, like, look at the way they treat refugees, because that's the way they would treat you if they thought they could get away with it.
True. Guitar Guy asks, is there a union for YouTubers? First, no, and rightly so, because YouTubers are scum. But secondly, even if you are a YouTuber, you can join pretty much any trade union. They will take general members. And even if you are unemployed, you can join a trade union. And all good trade unions offer vastly reduced fees for unemployed members. So just go and join it. It's the best thing you can do, I think. Certainly in Britain, anyway.
Yep.
And I want to talk about what's happening around the rest of the world. And, immigration is one facet of that. You need to have relationships with other countries to deal with it. But I know just before we sat down today, you spoke to President Zelensky this morning. And over the Christmas period, he said there was a 90% chance.
And he asked him, how's that $3 billion we're going to send you for the next fucking 100 years going? Enjoying that yum money, are ya? Oh, that's fantastic. Anyway, we're going to go and steal that fucking $3 billion off some pensioners and some disabled people. Toodles!
By the way, I'm a bit tired now from streaming for the last few hours, so I'm going to dip out now if that's okay, Kev.
That's
I will raid
absolutely
my
fine.
people into you if you're going to
Boom.
you're happy, haven't you?
No, I haven't got happy hour. This no.
Oh, because you do your Tanky Tuesdays on Mondays, and now do
happy hour
on Tuesday.
Indeed, so yeah, I'll watch the rest of this Keir Starmer thing and then go to bed. Actually, no, it's really early. No, I won't go to bed. But anyway, doesn't matter. Yeah. Right. Everyone go and follow No Justice MTG. She's actually better at this than me, even though technologically she has been thwarted this evening.
I have. It's been a real fucking.
It's been a struggle. Yeah.
It has been. I'm so frustrated by it, but thank you for persevering with me, Kev. It's much appreciated.
Not a problem.
Everyone go and follow Kevin, my co-host with the co-most. I'll see you next time.
So, see you later.
On Free Palestine.
Oh, yeah, and Free Palestine, of course. Yes. Yeah, she's also the queen of.
Get the fuck like you're not playing me all these mutants.
That's the podcasting is really low as well. I'm gonna have to try and up the volume on that somehow. Anyway, hello there, everybody from No Justice's stream on the various platforms. Whatever. Hello. You know who I am. You've been listening to me on that stream, so like, hit the follow button if you haven't already. Yeah.
Of a peace deal, do you feel like 2026 could be the year for peace in Ukraine? Is that what people could start to believe?
I certainly hope so. And obviously this starts with a caveat that none of this is certain. There's no straight road to what we all want to see, which is a just and lasting peace. I did speak to President Zelensky just an hour or so ago. I think that he's right in saying we're 90% of the way there, so that is a good thing. I think that we're probably closer now than we've been for months, if not since the beginning of this conflict. As I say, there's always a caveat with me because we can't be certain. The sticking points are, one, the security guarantees, because what is really important to Ukraine, to Europe, and
but I mean, this is part of the problem is that the Russian Federation already gave security guarantees to Ukraine when it gave up its nuclear weapons. So why would they trust any new security guarantees? Moscow has already fucked them within a lifetime. It's not even like they fucked them 200 years ago or something. No. They agreed to this in like 1993. And they've already broken it. Several times, in fact, by invading Crimea, by fomenting a bullshit uprising in the eastern parts of Ukraine, and then invasion.
And to the UK is...
and let alone overthrowing several of its fucking democratically elected leaders and having them executed and stuff, or poisoned and various things. Not that I'm suggesting those people were good, I'm suggesting they were elected in Ukraine and then Russia went, no.
Any deal, if it's reached, sticks and is lasting.
And do you believe that America, alongside European allies like the UK, will stand ready to give a security guarantee for 15 years, 20 years? Even President Zelensky said he wants 50 years.
I think that we're much further advanced on that issue than we were ever before. So serious progress on the American and on the coalition of willing. To a point now where one of the discussions we'll have on Tuesday is how do we integrate what the Americans are putting on the table with what the coalition of willing countries
so
have already
forces,
put them
American
on the table.
forces and European forces.
How do we integrate that? We've had military planning, we've got military plans in place. So the question we're now on is how do we integrate those security guarantees? That's a long way further forward than we were when we set up the coalition of willing. The other sticking point, of course, is territory, and Donetsk in particular. And I'm really, really clear that issues...
I mean, realistically, I think the only thing that could possibly work is some sort of semi-autonomous status for those eastern regions. Because Russia's not going to, like, just leave. And Ukraine can't accept them being there. So the only halfway house is, like, semi-autonomy for those eastern regions. You know? That's about it, really, I think. I don't know. But I don't know if Putin... Ultimately, it's what the fuck does Putin want to get out of this? What does Putin think he can achieve with this? Does he just want to... Is he prepared to literally destroy Ukraine? Because that's all that happens if this war continues, is that Ukraine is utterly eviscerated. Is functionally no longer an existent state. Maybe he is prepared to do that. He did it with Chechnya. He's done it with Nagorno-Karabakh. Or partly, anyway. Not as bad as Chechnya, but you know.
Of territory have to be for Ukraine. Without being over-optimistic, because these things can move around, I mean, 2026 seems to me the year in which we could make significant progress towards peace in Ukraine. And what a difference that will make to the United Kingdom, because people often say to me, well, you're spending a lot of time on Ukraine, what about the issues back at home? They're directly linked. So to take energy costs, they doubled at the beginning of this conflict back in this country. They're still 40% higher as a result of the conflict. So every month through the letterbox, people are paying more because of the conflict. So it's in our interests to find a lasting, peaceful solution to this conflict.
And you've certainly devoted a lot of time to that. But to bring this dreadful conflict to an end, to stop missiles falling from the sky onto the heads of people in Kyiv and Kharkiv and Donetsk and the Donbass, and also to stop the death of countless soldiers on both sides, Russian soldiers too. Would it be worth President Zelensky giving up some land? And if he does...
Oi, oi, Faisal! Welcome to the Covolution.
Doesn't that send a worse message of all to Vladimir Putin? Doesn't that reward him and he will simply look elsewhere?
We have to be really careful with Putin. He has ambition, and he's put that into action, and the lesson we know is that if we don't have strong security guarantees in place, we may have a pause for months or a few years, but he will be back at it. It has shone a torch, in my view, on the question of whether Europe has done enough in its own defence and security, not just on Ukraine, but more generally. And we've been found wanting. And I'm a big advocate of the Euro-Atlantic Security Alliance. I think it's the most...
Yeah, we know you're an Atlanticist piece of shit. Yeah, we know. Trilateral scum. We know.
...important alliance the world has ever seen post-Second World War. I'm never going to choose between the US and Europe, but do I think we become over-reliant on the US? Yes, I do. And I think it's time that, as European leaders, we stepped up on defence and security and intelligence, not just the amount we spend, but how we collaborate and cooperate. And of course that now involves energy and cyber, because you can see how Russia is operating.
And you've been incredibly clear always that Vladimir Putin's attack on a sovereign country of Ukraine was wrong and ought to be condemned. What about President Trump's attack on a sovereign country of Venezuela? There are...
Transition. Segway, motherfuckers. That's how you do it.
all sorts of horrors that we know about President Maduro's government. But for America to strike that country and then capture its leader, that's an action against a sovereign state that surely flies in the face of international law.
Well, at the moment it's a fast-moving situation.
We know...
Right. Okay, it's a fast-moving situation where they're increasingly committing violations of international law and human rights, by the way. But you know, they're literally bombing Caracas. They've abducted the head of state, or I suppose now technically the former head of state, because the deputy's been inaugurated. But even so, yeah, like that's war. They're committing aggressive war against a nation that has done nothing to them. Oh yeah, and they kidnapped his wife as well. What the fuck's his wife done? You slept in the same bed as a person we don't like. Prison.
Oh, those facts. President Trump, the White House has said that they captured Maduro and they struck his country. So there's a lot we don't know, but we do know that. So will you condemn that action against the sovereign state?
Well, I want to get all the material facts together, and we simply haven't got the full picture at the moment. It's
right, and even when you do, you won't condemn this because you're fucking spineless cunt. You're a spineless, pathetic weasel.
Oh dear, I seem to have spotted a cut.
Fast-moving, and we need to piece that together. I can be really clear with you that there was no UK involvement in this operation.
Why not, if it doesn't break international law, Keir?
And obviously we're working in relation to British citizens and nationals who are there with our embassy. But we need to establish a full picture. I then need to speak to President Trump. I need to speak to our allies.
And ask them what to say. I need to phone up Donald Trump to find out what I think.
I don't shy away from this. I've been a lifelong advocate of international law. And
no, you haven't. You're literally doing genocide, Keith.
Lots of compliance with international law, but I want to...
Literally, he's a person punching a child in the face, saying, I've always been against punching children in the face, as he continues to punch a child in the face, wearing a badge that says, I'm against child punching.
Sure that I've got all the facts at my disposal, and we haven't got that at the moment, and we need to get that before we come to a decision about the consequences in relation to the actions that have been taken.
But we do know enough here that the US, by its own admission, has struck a sovereign state. They have captured the leader of a sovereign state. Other political leaders in this country have already
By the way,
condemned it.
all this being done by the person we were told was the anti-war candidate in the presidential election. The guy who was invaded now and captured the leader of Venezuela has threatened to do the same for Cuba, for Mexico, and for Colombia. Has threatened to take over sovereignty over part of Denmark, i.e. Greenland. Has drone strike to fuck many number of different countries. Has engaged in all kind of manner of aggressive tactics in terms of trade policy as well. Like, this man could not be more aggressive, and yet he was butthurt that he didn't get the Peace Prize. Although ironically, someone else who wanted this aggression against her own country in Venezuela did win the Peace Prize. So maybe he was right. Maybe he was thinking, I'm not as bad as this bitch. Why didn't I get the Peace Prize?
Nigel Farage, who I know you have a very dim view of, has said it's probably against international
and has literally
law.
said that he wants Canada, a country that has bent over backwards. Couldn't have been more fucking loyal. Even more loyal and pathetic than America is, the United States. Than Britain has been to the United States, and has said, "Oh well, you could become the 51st state," referring to the Prime Minister of Canada as the Governor of Canada. Fucking disgusting.
So can you say that?
Well, I want to, with the government, we take this very seriously. I want to establish all the facts. That's what we're doing, working within our own teams.
The Monroe Doctrine was always bullshit. The Monroe Doctrine was always fucking nonsense. Britain held what is the territory of is now known as Belize. Until, 1975, I think it was, we held that territory. So the idea that the Western power, the European powers will not interfere in the American hemisphere is nonsense. It's bollocks. French Guiana, which is a small slice of the South American mainland between Suriname and Brazil, that's French territory. And I don't mean that's a French colony, I mean that is literally a constituent part of the Republic of France. And has been for a very long time. The Monroe Doctrine is a lie. It always was, and it continues to be so. It's just America also likes meddling in those places as well. The idea that this is like, turn up for the book. America overthrowing a democratically elected South American country. That's cray-cray. Come on now. No one is surprised by this. Many people, myself included, are disgusted by this, but we're not surprised. We're not taken aback at this news.
Working with our US counterparts, and of course I'll want to discuss this with allies. So I'm simply saying my preferred course of action is to make sure I've got all the facts at my disposal in relation to this, and it's fast moving. We clearly haven't got those facts at our disposal at the moment. and I want to be in that position.
But I know that you worry about
There you go, yeah.
global turmoil in all sorts of different ways.
Belize is my grandfather's homeland, formerly known as British Honduras. Yeah. When did it get its independence? Again, this was British territory. Disgustingly so, it should never have been held by Britain. You know, all the usual anti-imperialist caveats. But when did it get its independence? It was like surprisingly recently. Oh god, it was even closer than I thought. September the 21st, 1981. Britain held territory in the Americas from whenever the fuck it was. When did Britain get there? Like the fucking 1700s or some shit? 1862. From 1862 to 1981, Britain held a piece of territory in Central America. The Monroe Doctrine was never a thing. It never existed. It was a phantom. The British Virgin Islands perhaps counts as holding territory. Exactly, yeah. Suriname was previously owned by the Dutch. Again, that's on the South American mainland. Places like Aruba and the Dutch Antilles, the further Dutch Antilles, also owned and run by the Dutch. The French have places like, is it Guadeloupe, I think, in the Americas. The Spanish have territories there. There's a reason that, you know, there's so many Spanish-speaking islands in the Caribbean as well. Britain still has as a territory Bermuda in the Americas. It's a nonsense. It's a fucking farce. The Falklands as well. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Although, to be fair, the Falkland Island War in 1982 was the one time that America ever went against Britain during the Thatcher period. Even they were like, motherfucker, you can't just be doing this shit. They didn't quite Monroe Doctrine it and like step in on the side of their American brethren. But they did say, maybe don't do that, Britain. That's not cool. And that's it.
Is by doing this kind of thing and having been accused by lots of people of multiple abuses of power, isn't your friend Donald Trump contributing to that global...
Didn't Hong Kong gain independence in 1999? Hong Kong has never had independence. Hong Kong was leased for 100 years to Britain in 1897, at the point of a gun, it must be borne in mind, and then was given back to China in 1997. Mainly because Britain couldn't hold it anymore, because, you know, it's there, it's in China. Well, Hong Kong has never been independent. It had, in theory, it has a semi-independent basis now on the one China, two countries policy, whatever the fuck it's called. But that's it. It's in theory, they have a separate rule. But as we've seen recently with the old one China, two systems, sorry, not two countries. As we've seen with the extradition law that was passed very, very, very much against the will of the Hong Kongers themselves. That's literally what they're called. That's the demonym. Yeah, the Chinese government basically run Hong Kong. If we could have, we would have kept... Oh, yeah, there's no... Look, let's say another country. Let's say we'd had a lease on a part of Madagascar. Let's say the northern tip of Madagascar had been leased to us 100 years ago. And then all of a sudden Madagascar goes, oh, that lease is up. Can we have our land back? No. No, you fucking can't. Because it's Madagascar. What are they going to do? They don't have nuclear weapons. They don't have the largest standing army in human history. They can't touch us. Whereas China, just across the straits there, and now there's a bridge, so, you know. Actually, I think there are several bridges. But anyway, the point being, the Chinese army could just walk in and take it. And there's fuck all we could do to stop them. So we went, of course we'll give it back. We stand by our agreements. Because the other side had a way of enforcing that agreement. To be fair, I think the Chinese would have walked in and taken it had they. Let's say it had been 200 years. The Chinese would have just taken it. But by the time they were powerful enough to take it, by let's say the 80s, they thought, what's the point? Just let the lease run out. It's only 15 years away. Who cares, you know? Why stir up potentially a world war when we can just sit back? Again, do nothing, win. That's been China's policy, and it works very well.
Turmoil.
Well, two responses to that. Firstly, I do think that we're in a more volatile world than we have been for many, many years. And I'm really struck by the fact that what is happening internationally has much more of a direct impact on the UK than at any time that most of us can remember. And there are various reasons for that. There are conflicts around the world. There's climate issues going on. They're all impacting back on the UK. And that's why
there are lots of climate issues. And so maybe he could go to the next COP meeting in a hot air balloon. That's another up reference. You're very welcome.
Whenever I'm abroad on international work, I'm thinking about what's the impact back on the UK.
But the question
in
here
relation
isn't
to
your
the
big
relationship,
political friend making it worse.
Yeah, the relationship between the
Can
US...
you just go blah, 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 blah? We're having that again.
Abroad on international work, I'm thinking about what's the impact back on the UK.
But the question
in
here
relation
isn't
to
your
the
big
relationship,
political friend making it worse.
Yeah, the relation...
Blah, 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 blah. It became a fart in the bath for a second there. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, cool.
Relationship between the US and the UK is one of the closest relationships in the world. It is vitally important for our defence, for our security, for our intelligence. It is my responsibility to make sure that relationship works. As the Prime Minister of this country, working with the President of the United States. And not only have I stepped up to that responsibility, I have made it my business, and I do get on with President Trump. Now, that's a strange alliance in a way, as he often points out. We're from different political traditions.
Well, he tells you it's strange to be friends with him.
Well, he says on a number of occasions, you know, we come from different political traditions. Of course we do.
That's not true. You're both massive bullshitters and will lie about anything to get what you want. Two peas in a pod, mate.
It shows is that if you believe in and value the partnership and the relationship because it's in our own interest to do so, then you can work with people, notwithstanding that you've got differences. And we do have differences of views on various things, but on the other hand...
what are those exactly, Keith? Because no matter what he does, you always defend it. Or at the very least, run away from condemning it. So what are your differences? Because I don't think I've ever heard you utter a difference that you have between you.
I constantly remind myself that 24/7, our defence, our security, and our intelligent relationship with the US matters probably more than any other relationship we've got in the world.
Which is why I sent a paedophile there. Although, to be fair, smart move, because the person who's in charge of America is also a paedophile. And they both share their paedophile best friend, who's now dead. And they probably mutually mourn his passing. So they probably got on very well. Two paedophiles in a pod. That's a clever joke, albeit very, very dark at the same time.
It would not be in our national interest to weaken that in any way. Of course, it doesn't mean I agree with President Trump on everything he says and does, any more than he would agree with everything that I say or do. And we openly accept that that's the nature of the relationship we have. But we have made the relationship work. We do get along with each other and have the ability to spend time one-to-one discussing world issues. And that is to the benefit of the UK.
You know, too, that President Trump is somebody who a lot of people in this country, particularly a lot of people on the left, find distasteful. They don't like the fact that you are visibly having such warmth with him. But there's a broader question here about your connection, not just with your party, but also with the public. Now,
So the world is at war. America has invaded or at least is bombing the shit out of and kind of invaded and kidnapped their leader and is just generally being aggressive as fuck, has literally been bombing the fuck out of fishermen for weeks and weeks and weeks now, right? They're taking their tankers, all kinds of shit. And she asked one question about it. And now she's totally moved on to something else. Wow, thanks for holding his feet to the fire here. This is award-winning journalism like it's never awarded, winning, or journalismed before.
It's of course right and proper. Any Prime Minister would always spend a lot of time abroad. But it is one of the things that seems to have put distance between you and the public. And distance between you and...
No, I'm happy for him to leave. You know what? Never come back, Keith. Fuck off going around the world, doing your thing, and just never return. Fine. The more he's out of the country, the better. Cunt.
What's really going on at home, and I don't just mean the nickname, you know, never hear, Keir. Do you worry, looking at your ratings?
Is
I know that all
is that
politicians
better
do.
or worse for him? Is that better or worse for him in terms of PR than two-tier Keir? Don't have a name that rhymes with so many words in English. Says a person with the last fucking syllable of his name being in.
Do you
doesn't know where to begin, Kevin, etc.
worry that it appears that voters, even Labour voters in from 2024, they just haven't warmed to you? They just don't like what they see.
Well, I was elected in 2024 with a 5-year mandate to change the country. And that's what I intend to do, to be faithful to that mandate. And I will be judged, and I know will be judged when we get to the next election, on whether I've delivered on the key things.
You won't be there at the next election. Stop kidding yourself, Sir Kid Starver. Stop it. You aren't going to be there. You know you're not going to fucking be there, surely. Has he gone full bunker on this one? Is he about to start screaming, 9999999? Perhaps he is.
Uttermost to people.
But, Prime Minister, here's the problem. You're not just going to be judged at the general election. You're going to be judged in May, in Scotland, in Wales, right across England, in a huge set of elections.
Well, if he allows any fucking elections in England to happen,
that many people in your party, many people even in your cabinet, think you're going to be absolutely hammered in. And many people in the Labour Party talk very openly about that moment being a moment when it will be time for a different leader. And after junking so many plans, whether it's winter fuel or ditching your welfare plans...
I don't think he likes this question, chat. I'm sensing a body language and a face that says, I'd literally rather lick the fucking pubes out of a public restroom latrine than answer this fucking question.
These different changes of heart. I suppose the question is, do you feel really you have the authority to turn this round, to survive?
Yeah, he's not a poker player.
Let me take the elections first. They are a very important set of elections.
He looks like he needs
very
to be
important
winded.
in England, for local authorities. Very important for
she needs to. Clearly, Laura needs to put him over her shoulder and start like rubbing his back. Come on now, bring up the gas. Come on now, Prime Minister. There you go. There you go. Big burpees. Lovely stuff. There we go.
Scotland, very important in Wales. And we will fight for every vote, and we take absolutely nothing for granted. I know that in these elections, as in all elections, every vote has to be earned. The question in each set of elections in England, it is who do you want as your local administration?
Yeah, you reckon he's into baby play?
Who do you want as the Scottish government?
I'm imagining being into baby play, and he's friends with fucking... He's friends with the Yum Yum man himself. Fucking grim optics.
In Wales, who do you want as the Welsh government? So they're local and national in that sense. They're not a referendum on the Westminster government.
You had the question for
yes,
many
they
people in the party
are.
and the public is...
Don't fucking lie. Oh, well, it's not up to me whether the entire Labour Party across the fucking country gets wiped out. It's nothing to do with me.
Who do you want to... run the whole country. And this is a critical question for you. Are there any circumstances under which, if there was a leadership challenge to you
King
after
Starmer,
May, that you would walk away?
Well, that's kink. You know that in KC, that stands. It's kink. What would the C be? It's just kink with a C.
Or would you fight it under any circumstances?
Well, Laura, under the last government, we saw constant chopping and changing of leadership, of teams. It caused utter chaos.
You had to have a reshuffle in your first 12 months, mate. Shut the fuck up.
Utter chaos. And it's amongst the reasons that the Tories were booted out so
Kink cock.
effectively at the last election. Nobody but nobody wants to go back to that. It's not in our national interest. We know
Cuckolding
from
Charlton.
that evidence what happens if you go down that chaotic path. And I'm not going to take us back to that kind
So
of
there
chaos.
are no circumstances under which you would walk away, even if you are challenged by your own party after May or before May. No circumstances whatsoever.
I was elected on a 5-year mandate to change this country. I intend to deliver on that mandate. I will be judged at the next general election on whether we have brought about the change that people voted for. I think that in 2026 we'll be able to turn the corner and show the evidence of that, and then we'll press on over the coming years into that general election to deliver on the mandate that I and the party won in July 2024.
But I know you also passionately want to prove to
Turn the
people, not just in this
corner,
country, but maybe
turn the
around the world,
corner.
that
Dun,
a
dun, dun,
moderate
dun, dun, dun,
government
the corner,
can work
corner.
in an age of what some people would say is an age of extremes. If the Labour's best chance of stopping Nigel Farage walking into this building as Prime Minister was for you to go, would you?
Well, firstly, let me acknowledge the point you put to me, because it's really important.
She's not going to answer. Okay.
That is, the next election is going to be unlike any election we've seen in this country for a very, very long time.
Motherfucker, they say this every time. It's so important. That's why you have to vote for us. Shut up.
Because my strong view is it'll be a Labour government up against a very right-wing proposition in reform. And that reform proposition will be a proposition of toxic divide of this country. The next election is going to be about a question of what
I'm not
is it
showing
to be
that.
British.
255. 255 rather childishly used the occasion of it's snowing here to draw a cock and balls. No, that's fair. Actually, that's fair. It has snowed here in Britain, by the way. One thing I do enjoy about the snow is cats. Firstly, cats are funny in the snow. Some of them are okay with it. Some of them, it's like the worst thing ever. But what I especially love is finding a little cat paw print trail in the snow. There was one of those in the back garden. There's a jaunty angle across the garden. From next doors, they'd obviously jumped over and then gone into the other next door's garden. And clearly they hadn't returned, so they'd gone some other route or whatever. I don't fucking know. And I like that because I'll never know which cat did it. And I don't know when they did it, other than after it snowed. But I like the fact that I was sort of visited. You know? A cat used my little patch of earth to go about its merry business. And I like that. There's something beautiful about that. Something sort of poetic. And seeing little Rory's sort of grave monument thing I've got there. That in the snow is quite beautiful as well. Anyway, let's not get maudlin.
Believe to be British is to be compassionate, reasonable, live and let live, and diverse. And I am proud to serve our diverse country and all of its parts.
Oh yeah, no, it definitely wasn't you, 255. Yeah, wink. Yeah, no, yeah, it wasn't you. Yeah, God, wink.
It's British to be diverse. And that is the essence of Britishness. That will be challenged at the next election by reform, and this country, if reform wins, will be torn apart in a toxic way. And my strong sense of history tells me that if a right-wing proposition like that gets in with that toxic divide, and things don't go the way they pretend they will, and they won't, they will move to the right, to the right, to the right. You can see this
like
happening,
you. That's what you've
This is
done.
happening.
That's literally what you've done, Kia. Okay, I've scrolled through and it doesn't show a picture of it, so I can do this one.
News from Sweden. A giant snow penis in the roundabout in Åkersberga lasted less than 1 day. But first, follow like Sweden for more things Swedish. A big snowstorm called Anna hit Stockholm area this weekend, causing road chaos, power outages and cancelled flights. But in Åkersberga, 20-year-old Joachim Hellberg Renkler and 3 friends got creative. They spent almost 3 hours building huge snow sculpture in a roundabout. First, nearly 2 hours to pile up enough snow, then they sculpted it using tools. Joachim says the snow was hard to work with. They couldn't get enough height.
Was hard to work with. It's a real stiff challenge, was it? Putting up this erection.
So they focused on the balls, but by Sunday morning it had collapsed. Joachim says when he drove past, only 2 balls were left. He doesn't know what happened, but someone
Can you believe it? The snow penis was cancelled.
commented it was removed because it was tasteless. And this isn't the first time. In 2023, a similar snow sculpture in the area was taken away after the municipality said it was a traffic safety risk because it blocked visibility. So did it melt?
Look, what a flex. My cock is so massive it causes traffic visibility problems. Oh, fuck yes. You made that way cooler than whoever made the snowcock.
Fall or get removed, still unclear.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you for that.
You can see the right-wing propositions in Germany, in France. If you look at the elections of this year, even in Norway, in the Netherlands, in Australia and in Canada, it's been a fight between the moderates and a right-wing proposition.
The moderates, the sensibles, the adults in the room.
That is what we're up against. That is the fight of our times. I intend to lead us into that fight. What I don't think will help us is if a Labour government turns into or turns back to the chaos of the last Tory government.
No, you're just doing the Tory policies. Yeah, we know.
That would gift Nigel Farage. We need to be clear. We need to turn the corner. As we're turning the corner, we need to stop.
Turn the corner, turn the corner, turn the motherfucking corner.
In this country, we need to shoot down this idea that slogans, easy answers, quick fixes.
You've just said turn the corner twice repeatedly, and now we're like, slogans are bad, and we've turned the corner on slogans, which means we're turning the corner on slogans. Turn the corner, turn the corner, turn the corner, turn the da.
They didn't fix it. Johnson pretended to drive a bulldozer through a wall, pretending that would get you £350 for the NHS. It didn't happen. Farage pretended leaving the EU meant you would reduce your immigration. The opposite happened. Liz Truss pretended that if you ignored all the financial institutions, you could build the economy. Everybody paid the price. We're not going back to that. That's the last thing this country needs.
Oh, no! I pressed the wrong thing. Fuck off. Oh, bollocks and sweaty cock and fuck. Okay, I've pressed the wrong thing and I can't be asked to scroll through. Anyway, we're tough on slogans, tough on the causes of slogans. True. Oh, that's so sweaty. Oh, that's gross as fuck. I'm going to clean them on my boobs. There you go. Yeah, I can't be bothered. We're basically done. They're not going to... There's no more light going to be shed on Keir Starmer by carrying on. So... And we had a tiny bit of Venezuela talk. Like, because that's not even news that needs to be talked about. We need to talk about the fucking farm tax... not farm tax, the VAT on fucking employers more. Literally, that got more fucking airplay in this video than the fucking war that is currently happening. We need more hog slop. Well, tomorrow maybe then, unless more war happens or something. But either way, I'm done for the evening. Oh, okay, I have to share that meme. That is solid. If you don't get the reference, you haven't been watching all the way through, in which case, tough shit. Where are we? Boom. There you go. Oh, hang on, I flipped the screen because Keir Starmer wasn't, like, he was hidden behind the fucking chat. Hang on, 1 second. Which some people might think is a positive, but... boom. There we go. Up. And it's Keir Starmer as the up old man and the bowler hat man. Anyway. Oh, that is not the right one. There we go. Right. No, that's someone made me this image fucking ages ago with the red coat, which is over there somewhere, I think. Yeah. Anyway, it's been emotional, chat. Everyone go and show No Justice some love, because she had a bit of a rough one today, didn't she? But she's really good at this. It's just technology fucked her up today, you know. Anyway, let us raid into somewhere. Anywhere, god damn it. Who is going on YouTubes? Hey, hello, Sister Rose. Everyone go and follow Sister Rose immediately. Otherwise... there's literally nobody going on YouTube that I would want to send people into. So you know what? I'm not going to fucking bother. Enjoy your evening. Free Palestine. Right. Yes. Who's going on Twitch? No, that's not what I meant to do. Show me who's on Twitch, you pricks. There we go. Right, okay. Oh, I follow so many people. It's difficult to pick anyone out that I actually want to send you to. We did Tina too. Zach App. We'll send you to an Australian. Right. There we go. Everyone going solo to Zach App. And I will I'll see you tomorrow. Probably at a more reasonable time. This was a very early one because No Justice wanted to do an afternoon stream. Perfectly within her rights. I will see you all yeah, like I say, I'll see you tomorrow. Free Palestine. Free Venezuela, I suppose we have to say now as well, ridiculously. Stay beautiful. No pass around.